is Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty. Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty.
Hey, greetings. Welcome back to Soul Voices. I'm GriffinGamingRPG. Good to see everybody here today. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Saturday, July the 6th. We are in the month of July, halfway through the year, halfway mark. Hope you guys are having a great weekend and a great, it's a great weekend. Hope you guys are doing well. Give some shout outs to folks out there. We've got Fast Card is there. Yo! Pops and Spaces here, MT Stunner, and New Soul Sounds. Thank you guys for being here, helping me kick it off on a Saturday. Like I said, we're halfway through the year. Clock is ticking down. We are going into our 7th month, and a lot of interesting stuff going on as we get toward the end of this year after CitizenCon last year. And so today, I wanted to kind of come from a different perspective. As always, as you guys know, our show Soul Voices is where we basically try to tap into information in our community that comes from Spectrum and Reddit, also some stuff from the gaming industry. But from time to time, there are things that I observe in the community, and there are things that I just feel like I just have to bring up because it's on my mind and I want to get it off my mind and put it on your mind. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So let me kind of give a little explanation to this opening today. Finish what you started. I'll talk about this later on in the show too. But I've just kind of been noticing that folks are ready, for both Star Citizen and Squadron 42. There's one camp that's looking forward to the standalone game. There's another group of people who are looking forward to the MMO. And I think that folks are ready to CIG finish what they've started because it's been a little while. It's been some time passing by. So we're going to be kind of talking about just that whole idea of starting things today and finishing things today. And maybe how to get on the good foot, how to get things going. I know Fast Card, that was an old reference, right? Get on the good foot. Let's see if anybody other than Pops, Fist, or Fast Card knows where that came from. Get on the good foot. Does anybody know? If you know, drop it in the chat. I'm curious to see if anybody knows where that phrase would come from. So yeah, hey Jade, what's going on? Let's get things started, as they would say. That would be our first thing to do here. So let's kick off. In fact, our first topic is let's get it started. Yes, I'm doing nothing but song titles today. So if you want to give a shout out to whoever made the title, you can put that in the chat. Let's see who figures it out. the Rusty Pigeon Gaming channel. Hey, what's going on? Hi, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Hey, Pops, I said without you, Fast Cart and Fist. You still gave it away. Oh my God. Okay, well, it's gone now. It's out in the ether. Oh my God. So that's what happens when you talk to music people. They get excited. They don't be listening. They get all fired up. Hey, Red, good to see you. Hope you are doing well. Good to see you. Good to see you, buddy. Okay. Yeah, I know. Like father, like son. Like son, like father. Yeah, I know. So let's get on this very beginning subject. And CC, thank you so much. 32-month subscription. Thank you so much for supporting us and being there for us. We really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Kicking us off real good at the beginning of the show here. So let's get on this topic here. One of the things that I've talked about on the show before. Hey, what's up, BSL? Good to see you, bro. One of the things that I've been talking about from time to time is the importance. We've had these conversations before, talking about ships and which ships you buy and what is it going to take to run these ships. But one of the things that I've said over and over and over again is the importance of starter ships. I fly starter ships all the time. I know there are some people who rarely ever get in a starter ship. They don't even think about their starter ship. They may have even melted their starter ship. But I think that there's a reason why they're starter ships, and the starter ship goes way more than just entry into the game. I think that they are going to be important and viable in some ways. I'm just predicting here, but I'm just, trying to read the tea leaves as I always do. And sometimes the tea ain't right. I get it. Sometimes it's coffee, but I think that sometimes people underestimate the importance of starter ships and why CIG has now quite a few. When we first started way back in the early days, I remember that our options were the Aurora and the Mustang. And that was it. If I'm not mistaken, Fast Cart, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was all I remember. So I'm going way back here on that. But what I want to do is kind of open the floor up today to talk about starter ships. And they're going to be in 3 different categories progressively. And I want you guys to come in and basically you can tell me in chat too, which ships you think are important. That's what I really would like to know. We had also the Avenger and the 300i as a starter. Were they? Okay, Red, I couldn't remember that. The Avenger, yeah, because I think that was the first ship I bought. So I think I did come in on the Avenger. I don't remember the 300 as a starter, though, because maybe it was too much for me, maybe. But the prices were so close. I know I would have probably bought the 300 before I would have bought the Avenger. And I bought the Avenger first. That was my very first ship, and you're right. So that was a starter, because I didn't buy the Aurora. I thought the Aurora was ugly. We call it the cockroach, right? The Hornet was too, the Cutlass, and the Connie. No, the Connie came later. We didn't have multi-crew. In the very beginning, was it? Maybe it was. You know what? Maybe it was. Maybe I'm thinking about what were the ships that we had in the hangars, what we had in our hands. Because it took a while before we got the Connie. I remember that. Yes, there may have been. And the Hornet. Yeah, the Hornet was too. Yeah, now that I think about it. Okay. Yeah, you could pledge for the Connie. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so here, again, this is just to kind of get us kicked off today with this whole thing about let's get it started. Want you guys to come in, talk with me. I'm going to show you guys the very first set of starters. This is the current list that CIG has on their website now. When you go to starters and go to starter packages, these are the ships that actually come up now. So we've got the Aurora MR. We've got the Mustang Alpha. We've got the C8X Pisces Expedition starter, which is still very popular. And then we've got the Cutter starter package, right? So what I want you to do is come in. If you want to come in, drop in. Let me know if you own any of these, if you ever owned one of these, why you didn't buy one of these, and then I want you to pick and tell me which of these 4, if you were to recommend something, which one would you recommend, and then which one wouldn't you recommend? If there's one that you'd say out of these 4, nah, don't get that one. But I do want to know which one you're interested in. So I've got Red. Red is already in line and eagerly waiting to come in. So I'm going to bring Red in with me. Let's see if I can bring him down. There he is. Red, you there?
Yes.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, I'm here.
How are you? Guten
Yeah,
Tag.
not too
Guten
bad.
Tag. Yeah, how are you?
Guten Tag, wie geht es? I'm not German, guys.
I know, I'm just being funny. You know, I always tease you about the German thing. I have to mess with you.
Yeah, of course.
So go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, well, I would still, if I go for the very bottom entry, I would still go for the Aurora MR. I think it's a very versatile ship, sturdy,
Okay.
and yeah, it's also forgiving compared to the Alpha. Alpha, well, it kind of breaks quickly compared to the MR. So
Okay.
if you want to have some leeway in flying, then MR is way to go.
Okay.
And after that, I would recommend anyone to upgrade to the Titan, the Adventure Titan.
Do you own?
It's a very
well. Wait, before we get to the Titan, because Titan's not on this list. I want you to go with these first, because the Titan's going to be on the next list. So you can give me that one on the next one. So between the MR, the Mustang, the C8X, and the Cutter, do you own or have you owned any of these?
Yeah, the MR.
Oh, you own the MR. Okay. So you own the MR. Okay.
And even the Cutter, I had it until I CCU to something else.
Okay. So if you were to make a recommendation to a new player and say, this is the way I think, and, you know, not worrying about the dollars or anything like that, is there one of these that you would recommend?
Well, for people who are just getting started, I would go for the MR first.
Okay.
And the reason I don't say the Cutter right away, because Cutter has a nice interior, I have to say that.
Okay.
But it's also slow and very squishy.
Okay.
If it gets under attack, you can hardly run away.
Yeah.
And if someone attacks you, then the ship is very squishy.
Okay. So
that's a lot of frustrations for a beginner. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting that you picked the MR, because out of all my starter ships, the MR is my most disposable, but it's also the one I use the most. You know, if I'm going to run somewhere and meet somebody, I jump in it with. And the other thing is that people don't mess with you in an MR. You know, in Aurora. Nobody's ever taken pot shots at me when I'm in an Aurora for some reason. I don't know. Maybe people feel sorry for me, or they just don't feel like it's worth it. You know, I'm not carrying anything, even though a lot of times I have carried stuff in it. But okay, all right. So that's your recommendation. All right, buddy. Yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And what about the other one? I was because I got for the Adventure Titan.
We're gonna. That's the next list. You got to come back. That's gonna be on the next list.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, then
all right, buddy. All right, he's ready for that Avenger Titan. Let me bring in Pops in space next. Hey, Pops.
Hey, bro.
How are you?
All right. How's your Saturday?
Good.
Good. Let's see. I had I believe I want to say I had the Mustang.
Okay.
I had the Mustang, but it was only for about 10 minutes. So I don't know how much value that is, because I went from the Mustang to the Constellation of Aquila. So
okay. Do you have any of these, or is that the only one you ever owned out of these four?
Well, we have the Pisces, the medical version.
Well, that's the medical version, yeah. But I'm talking about these here, though. So right now, the only thing that you ever have owned is the Mustang.
Is the Mustang. Yeah.
Okay. Did you like it, or you never flew? You said you only had 10 minutes. That means you didn't even fly it, right?
I got that one because it looked better than the Aurora.
Okay.
If that's any value.
Okay.
To anybody.
Okay. All right. But you didn't keep it more than 10 minutes.
No.
Okay, so you went by looks. It had a cool factor for you.
Yep, it was cool.
All right. Fair enough. All right, Pops. Thank you. All right, that's funny. By the way, our show tomorrow is called The Rule of Cool, so you guys have to tune in for that show on tomorrow. Let me bring in Stunner next. Hey, Stunner. I think he's here.
Hey, what's going on?
There he is. Hey, buddy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
Oh, okay. So my original package that I got for Star Citizen was the C8X Pisces Expedition. And I still have it to this day. I'm very happy with the ship. Love it.
Okay.
And actually, it's the only one I actually own of these four. I mean, I've had lots of Auroras as loaners.
Okay.
Like ever since, but Yeah, and I'd probably recommend new people really look at the cutter.
Okay.
As hard as it is for me to say that, I have no love lost for Drake, but I think it kind of has like the best all around getting started in the game and interior and everything else right now.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. The cutter became very popular, a lot more popular than I thought it would be. And I think it has to do with the features, but I have the same problem that Red has with it. It is freaking, I'm one of those people that goes in and out of atmosphere all the time. And it is so sluggish. I mean, I feel like a whole A moves faster than a cutter does for some reason to me. It's just, it drags. And I'm always feeling so vulnerable when I'm in it, even though it's great that it's got the bed and the bathroom and the cargo space and the blah, 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 blah. But a lot of people like the cutter. They're willing to take that compromise because they like the features in it. Or maybe they like the aesthetic design of it,
if they put a bed in the C8X, I'd say hands down that all day long.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know what Aztec Sun calls the cutter? He calls it the short bus. It looks like a little short bus. I agree. I used to think that in my head, but he actually said it. All right, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
All right, let me bring in Fist to Face next. Hey, buddy. How are you?
Hey, how are you there, Griff? Okay,
good.
I don't have that much experience in all of these.
Okay.
Really, like Pop said, I had the Mustang too for about all of 10 to 5. But I want to go with the cutter. And the reason why I want to go with the cutter as a recommendation, because I have to look at the game going forward.
Okay.
If I'm giving advice to a new player,
mm-hmm.
First of all, we have to look at the new SCL that just came out last week and talking about cargo and stuff like that. So I have to try to throw somebody into something that's going to be not as crazy, I guess, you know what I mean? Like something that to just get their feet.
Yeah.
And I would give them the cutter or point them in that direction for the cutter. Now I get it that everybody's saying that it's sluggish and all of that, but just like you said it yourself, things change.
Yeah.
Things can get revamped and all of that. So I would advise someone to go that way. And,
the other thing, even if it doesn't change, every ship has its pro and its con, right? So you can't have that perfect ship, right? So it's not that I look at it as a negative. I just look at what are the things I'm willing to compromise on. Now, by me, for example, a Mustang is fast. It can actually do pretty decently in fighting, but there's no bed. Cargo is very limited. So that's my compromise, right? If I'm in space, I've got to land somewhere. I don't have that luxury of logging out, right? So to your point, every ship, whether it's because one's fast but doesn't have a bed, or this has a bed but it's not as fast, there's always going to be that. I think that not you, but a lot of times players are looking for that ultimate that does everything. But there's always going to be, I guess you could say, like an Achilles heel, right, to almost every ship in the game, and it's just a matter of preference, I guess, more than anything.
And you're right, but if I look at it from a point of view of a person trying to say, okay, let me go from zero to hero.
Yeah, that's a better ship.
A cutter is going to be your ship, because then once you have enough capital, then you can go on ahead and say, all right, well, let me go rent.
Okay, yeah. Another ship. Yeah. Oh, okay, very cool. All right, buddy. Thanks a lot. All right. Let me bring in the man, Chew himself. Choo is here. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Yeah, I started with the old Aurora.
You did?
It was it was a holiday pack or something.
Which one did you get? Do you remember which one it was? Was it the CL or the LX or the...
It was the MR.
Oh, the MR. Oh, really? Okay, you started right at... Oh, that's almost the bottom. I think the ES is like the bottom, I think.
It's the bottom, yeah. Yeah, I started with the MR, and I had my sights on a much larger ship, of course. That was just to get me... I had an account, but I hadn't, committed to the game at that point. I knew I needed the game pack, so...
Okay.
They had it on sale, and I said, let me buy this. And I saw a video. I think the guy name was Hybrid V. He might still be around. He was doing flying lessons in it, and just the visibility was great. So, I started with it. It was an ugly ship. It still is. It's still ugly. I bought an LX a little later.
But you know what? I tell people this all the time. The Auroras have the best visual of seeing all your displays in front of you.
Yep.
The view is actually not a bad view. It actually is a really good view, even though I think people think because the struts is obstructed, but it's not. But you can see every MFD on that ship which is the one thing I really like about it. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
And he's got a bed. So.
Yes, which people forget about,
best,
right?
Yeah.
What were you gonna say? But the best what?
The best starter's probably the Avenger Titan.
Okay, well, we're gonna get to that next page. I'm gonna hold off on the Avenger. Yeah. But of these four, which one would you go with if you're recommending?
If I was recommending, I would go with the Cutter.
The Cutter. Okay, looks like the Cutter's
winning.
And then
if you're combat, the Mustang, obviously. So.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks like the Cutter's getting the votes today. Okay. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. All right. Let me bring in last but not least Fast Card, and we're gonna move on to the next set. FC.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm okay.
I hope you had a good 4th.
Yeah.
Had a happy holiday.
Thank you.
Yeah. Of these, I've had the Aurora, but I had the LN.
Okay.
That's still okay, right?
Okay. Yeah. It's Aurora. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So I had the LN, and back in 2014, 2015, I had it for quite a while, but and it was mostly a hanger queen because I had a bigger ships too. We'll get to it later on, but yeah, the Aurora for me. Because back then, I did have a Mustang Beta for a long time too, but then they redesigned it and I got rid of it. And eventually, I upgraded from the Aurora LN too. So I no longer have either of them, but I did have both of them at one point. Yeah.
Okay. And if you were to recommend out of these four, what would you be for your recommendation to a new player coming in?
I agree with most people. The Cutter had the most utility, but I know you say you're not looking at the dollar thing, but I'm looking at the dollar thing. All you need is $45 just to get into the game.
Yeah. So but as far that's to get into the game. But as far as ships go, you're saying
go the Cutter.
Cutter. You go with the Cutter too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Fair enough. All right. Well, since you're here, why don't you stay here? I'm going to go to the next category because I know you can have some thoughts on this one here. This is the next set, stepping up the gears a little bit. We've got the 100i, the Avenger Titan, which everybody seems to love. We've got the Saoulin, and we've got the Arrow, rather, out of these four. If you were to go with this one, which ones would you do a recommendation and why?
If you want a pure fighter, probably the Arrow. If you want utility, I would definitely say the Avenger Titan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, anyway.
Okay.
But you want something strange, the Squadron. So you got something for everybody on there with these four. But I think that the least on my list is probably the 100i. Even though I know you love the 100i, I know you're gonna say why. I'm not gonna spoil it, but yeah, I'd say so. If I would go to 1, 2, 3, 4, I would say Avenger Titan 1. L if you're a fighter, so that's number 2. Squadron, number 3. And then 100i for me, which is 4.
Okay, fair enough. All right, brother. Thank you much. All right, we got folks popped up in here real quick on this one. Let me I think Fist to Face was the first one here. Let me bring in Fist again. If I can get him down here. There we go. Hey, Fist.
Hey.
All right, so you see the 4 this time. Who we got?
This is tough one. This is tough.
Okay.
If I had to steer somebody, damn, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been in it a little bit. I have to go with the Avenger Titan.
Okay.
I have to, even though I don't have it, I have the Squadron.
Right.
I have to go with the Avenger Titan.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Because it's probably the best of both worlds, from cargo to combat to, I think, is it the Titan that has the EMP pulse, or which one is it that
the Titan EMP pulse? Oh, you're thinking about the Warlock, the Warlock version. Okay. Yeah. So I'm not going to include that. Yeah, we're not going to include that.
I knew there was a variant, but I didn't know if this was it. Okay. But I think the Titan has the best of both worlds. Yeah. Out of all 4 of these.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. What's the one you pick at the bottom of the list? You don't have to give me the middle ones. Which one would you least recommend?
Arrow. I'm going to say the Arrow because you're locked to just one profession in that.
Okay. All right. That's fair. All right, my brother. Thank you much. Okie dokie. Let's see who we got next. I want to bring in Red. I think Red might have been next. Hey, Red. Hey, Red. There he is. Okay. So we got the new 4 up. Which one are you interested in here? Which one you say is the one?
I would say the Avenger Titan.
Okay. Okay. You mentioned it earlier. Do you think it's the best deal? The best. What's the advantage of that one over the other ones for you?
Oh, it can do almost anything what the others can do as well.
Okay.
Plus more. I mean, it has 8 SCU. The Titan. You can put a bike or another vehicle in the back.
Yeah. Now. Yeah.
It has reasonable firepower.
Okay.
Yeah. It's an do-it-all.
Yeah.
And not that bad anymore. It used to be pretty bad, but it's now a lot better.
It's one of the one starters that people have gotten, and a lot of people have kept. Either they move up to it, or once they get it, they keep it. They like it a lot.
If I can make a recommendation, this ship you should keep in your fleet indefinitely. Just because bigger ships all nice and dandy, but you need most likely more people for it. And it needs more maintenance. And while you can fly this one on and off, when you have no friends online. So
okay, all right.
The least favorable, and I have to agree with the previous person, is the arrow. It can only combat. It's very well in that regard, but it's very one-sided.
It's limited,
And even I don't like the Origin brand, as you know. The 100i comes next, and then the last Sulin.
Okay, all right.
Because it's for the starter. It's not very starter friendly.
Okay, all right. Thank you for sharing, brother. Appreciate you.
Yes.
All righty, let me bring in Pops in Space. Hey, Pops.
Hey.
All right, there's the 4 new candidates. Who's you going to pick?
Well, the Titan, being able to put in the pulse, and that is so valuable.
Okay.
Oh man, but I like my Sulin. It's tough. It's tough. I think the disadvantage to the Sulin is right now. I don't know if they fixed it because I haven't gotten in it besides the first couple of days when it came out.
Well, let's base it around if there's no bugs and they're working fine. I don't even worry about the bugs aspect of it. If you were making a recommendation, because if it's bugs, they'll eventually fix it. So, which one do you think is the best you would go with, and then give me the one that you would least vote for?
Me personally, because I'm more cargo, I would take the suit.
Okay.
And it has the best toilet paper holder.
Okay. So, it was the least one.
Arrow, because it's just so one trick pony.
Okay. All right, that's fair. You're one of the few people that decided to pick the alien brand, so that's pretty cool. All right, thanks, Pops. All righty, Pops went with that way. I'm gonna bring in Chew. I think I can't remember what's him or Stunner. Hey, Chew. You got 4 new candidates up here. Who are you going to go for?
Avenger Titan. I own all the variants.
Okay. All right. Is it for some of the same reasons, the versatility of it, or is it something else you like about it?
The versatility of it. I mean, being able to fight your way out of situation or carry some cargo. I won't get into the variants, but for the most part, Sulian to me is the alien equivalent.
Okay.
However, recommending to someone else because of how tricky it is to learn how to fly, I can't do that. So that would be number 1, and of course Sulian 2. The Arrow last place, obviously. So.
Oh wow. Okay. Wow. Boy, the Arrow. I'm surprised the Arrow's ain't getting much love on this one, boy. Okay.
One trick pony, and you want to give a new
for starter
starting out some options.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Okay. All right. Thank you, brother. All right. Cutting straight to the chase there. Let me bring in Stunner here again. Hey, Stunner.
Hey, what's going on, Griff?
Yes, sir.
So, first of all 4 ships, great ships. I don't want to put any of them down. They're all great ships.
Okay.
I've flown them all. I've only really actually owned myself the 100i. I'm an Origin guy, but I got rid of it. The 100 series I can't get behind because the bed is like a cot.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's like a slab. I was like, You know what it reminds me of? I don't know if you remember, I'm digressing here, but I don't know if you remember on Return of the Jedi, Harrison Ford, after he gets tortured, Chewbacca pushes a button and this little slab comes out and he lays them on it. And every time I see it, that's what I think of when I get in that ship. It's like, y'all could have put a little cushion on this thing or something. But anyway, go ahead.
I know, an origin pillow.
I know.
But then also the fact that your character, I can't stand that with the origin, like, lore and brand and everything. Your character actually has to duck to go in through the door. It's just not my thing. But the Titan is a great ship. I've always loved the Avenger Titan. I definitely give it the nod for this series, hands down. It's just the best all-around ship.
Okay.
And again, the worst one, the Arrow, not because it's bad, but just because it's limited in function.
Yeah.
So it would be a very, like, if you were suggesting to somebody, it would be a very niche thing to where a friend that had a ship that could carry small fighters, and that was their main thing they wanted to do in the game.
Yeah.
But great ship.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Thank you, brother. And last but not least, the one and the only, I don't have any music to play for him, but Captain Sirius fine. Hey, Cap.
How are you?
I'm good.
So, if you've left the previous page, you're spending more money. You're now on a journey.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. If you've left that previous page and you went up above $45, you're now on a journey. So the journey has a psychology to it. Right?
That's funny. Yeah.
The journey has a psychology to it. So the straight answer is the Avenger Titan, right? That's the straight answer.
Can I stop for a second? Wait, I got to stop for a second. You just opened up a whole psychological thing here. Because we tell people all the time, all you have to do is spend $45, but there is something that happens that makes people, I don't want to say ignore that, but skip over that to this, even though you say all you need is $45. That's a really interesting observation you said,
It's absolutely true, right? if you have the discipline / don't want to deploy your disposable income here and want to deploy it elsewhere, or don't have it, or whatever.
Right.
You can spend $45 and you can gain access to these ships in game. Right. But if we're looking at this as it's presented, if you've left that first page, you're now on a journey.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they got you.
And I would recommend every ship on this page in that journey.
Okay.
Right. The 100i gives you a chance to see what the beginning of a luxury brand looks like. And I accept all the points that you and Stunner make about the weaknesses within the 100i, but it's the beginning of that. Right. The Avenger Titan is the first all-rounder.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people would argue the Cutter. I would argue the Avenger Titan and its effectiveness is the first real all-arounder.
Okay.
But the Suyen tells you what this game is going to be. Right. When you get in the Suyen, you go, oh my goodness, everything's different. I'm facing up. How's the toilet work? What do these symbols mean? I can go learn Xi'an, all that stuff. And they need to stop hating on the Arrow, because the Arrow, once you move to the Arrow, you've now gotten the first bona fide combat ship.
Okay.
Right. You don't really know how fast ships move, really.
Yeah.
And be effective until you start getting it into an Arrow.
Yeah.
And this is for me, a person who's on a journey to the Cuddy Black. You're going to get there. We ain't get there yet. But if you've left $45, and then for me, this is the psychology of that journey. You've got to try all these ships.
Yeah.
Right? And then once you get in the Arrow, you're going to go to everybody's point. All right, this is a one-trick pony. It does combat really well. I've really experienced it, but you're going to want to get back to an all-rounder.
Yeah.
And that's the next set of ships, right? So anyway.
Okay, now that's an interesting path that I didn't take into account. So thanks for bringing that out. That's pretty cool. Thanks, Cap. All right, last but not least, we got Admiral Kusanagi. And then we're going to look at the last three. So there's 3 tiers here. We've only seen 2 so far. Hey, Admiral.
Hey, Griff. How's it going?
Okie dokie.
So, as I drive around in my car right now, I was able to kind of track on what you guys are talking about, but I would have to say the Avenger Titan.
Okay.
Because all the ships below it suck. The roar is horrible. You go in that coffin sleeping thing and that's what you do, and that's pretty much what that ship is designed for.
Okay.
And then if I'm getting the ship right.
Yep.
And then, was it the Mustang? The one that
Mustang.
The wings fold down to land?
Yep. Fold up.
Yeah, they fold up to come. that was a great ship originally. I remember everybody, like, especially the camper version.
Yeah, the
TV
beta
in the back.
Yeah, the beta.
All the drawers worked. And it had like a nice little bathroom.
Yeah,
like that was a good buy.
Yeah.
But now it's like some retro 1966 thing, and it's ugly as all hell.
Yeah.
So you got to go to at least the Titan.
Okay.
And then of course, like people said, once you hit the Titan, you're like, oh well, the Cuddy Black is only a couple dollars more than that. So obviously, I have to go and get that one.
Okay. So your vote is definitely the Avenger Titan. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Looks like the Titan's winning for the day here.
It was one of my first ships, and I actually, it had a lot of bugs back in the day, and it's gotten bigger.
They've made it better now.
And,
I think
I keep
Papa
thinking
Doc,
I kind of want to have it as a day traveler, but no.
Yeah, Papa Doc mentioned earlier that one of the things he likes about it is even this has the two access points. You can get in from the cockpit or from the rear of the ship, which he said was pretty cool. All right. Well,
I really miss. I just follow up on that. I really missed the fact that the Cuddy Black doesn't have a ladder off the front.
Well, hold on. You have to come back for the Cuddy Black because that's on the next set of tiers. So we'll okay. I'll tell you what. No. I'll tell you what. Since you're here, I'm going to go ahead and transition over to that. Okay, so we can pick it up from there. All right. So we got here's your no. You can stay on. Here's the candidates. You got the Nomad, the Cuddy Black, the Freelancer, and the Connie. Those are your four choices for coming in. For starter. For a starter. For a starter. Yeah. And to Captain's point, if you've moved past that $40 to $60 range, you're kind of already hooked now. So, this might be more looking at ships because of their features, design, or whatever, once you start being willing to pay this much money as a starter package, right? Because if you can come in at 45, but you decide to pay 110, you're looking at more than just the fact that it's getting into the game. So if you were to go between the Nomad, Cuddy Black, Freelancer, Connie.
I don't even see how the Connie is in that group because you need like 4 people for that thing, don't you? But I'll go ahead with that. I would really like, even though I'm not a big Drake fan, I do like the Cuddy Black a lot.
Okay.
You can either it has a decent. You could put a land. I think you can put like a dragonfly in the back of it. You can do a lot of stuff with it. You can do like group missions. You can drop people off. It's a good drop ship. Not including the Cuddy Steel, which is everybody's favorite ship. But the Nomad is just a little bit like it's a one-off. It's more like I don't even know what this. It's like it's a recreational ship, where you put your ATV in the back or something like that. And although it does have a tractor beam, although they both have all those have tractor beams except for you'd have to go to the Taurus to get a tractor beam for the Connie.
Right.
So the Freelancer, I think the Freelancer is a great ship, but it's just confusing right now. They talk about doing a rework for the interior. I personally have voiced why I don't think it needs 4 people to do that ship, and I think the interior, if it only had say 2 people, or maybe even 3, if you're going to do a remote turret, I think it would just open up a lot of more space and functionality to that ship.
Yeah.
But who's to say what they're going to do with it?
Right.
So I think here I would probably go Cuddy and then the Freelancer, just based off the possibilities, as I like to say that Spock used to say a lot, and then probably do the Connie then the Nomad, just because I'm not sure how the Nomad kind of works. It's a great single-person ship. The fact it doesn't have a shower drives me crazy. I think it has a toilet, which is like a commode.
Right.
But it's for that type of like level of interior, it should have at least a folding toilet that turns into a shower. I'm just very confused by that.
Okay.
Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe that functionality is not there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Thank you, Admiral. Appreciate you kicking us off on this one. Alrighty. Let me bring in Red on this one here. Hey, Red. You got 4 new candidates here. Which one do you think is the one to recommend?
Yeah, well, I can start off, of course, like our friend Captain Fun. That all the ships are pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have a very hard time to say Constellation Andromeda, which I also
as a
like.
starter.
Is a starter, man. We're getting really into the the packages that are not really starters anymore. Okay. I'm actually doubting between the Nomad starter and the Cutlass Black. Why? The Nomad starter is for a real one person.
Okay.
Still.
Okay.
And the Cutlass Black, I have a feeling you need someone, and especially soon with the cargo and other the other stuff they want to put in, like engineering. You need more people on board, and then you have to ask the people who want to get that ship if they have those people online all the time. And if that's not the case and they want to spend the extra money, I would say like go for the Nomad starter first. You can always upgrade to the Black if you have more people all the time online.
Okay.
The Freelancer is a kind of weird ship in the mid. I like it, but it seems it kind of lacks a rework still.
Yeah, it needs to rework.
I think it needs a bit love.
It does.
I hope it gets it.
Yeah.
Say with the Andromeda, but that's not a starter ship anymore.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that. I think even though they have it listed as a starter package, I think it's an ambitious one. I can see why people would get excited, but for the amount of money coming in entry into this, unless you really know what this game is and have a complete understanding, which most people don't when they come in, I agree with you. I think that kind of steps outside the boundaries. I agree with you too about the Freelancer. I think that once they give it some love, it'll step up again. It used to be, for many people, the favorite of a lot of these ships, especially people who were here in the beginning. But we'll have to see where CIG goes with it.
For context, they used the Freelancer and was a Caterpillar. The Caterpillar was the evil twin of the Freelancer.
Yeah.
Don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I know. All right, buddy. Thank you much.
Okay.
Alrighty. Good sharing there from Red. I think I'm bringing Chu next here. Hey, Chu.
Hey, Griff.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this one, I'm going to have to say it's going to be the Cuddy Black, even though I never thought that. But break it down.
Yeah.
You're talking about starters for different people here. At this level, you would think if you even called it an advanced starter, if the Freelancer actually had some real functions for those other two folks, for the amount of cargo, I mean, it just doesn't make sense unless this is your starter for transporting people for the sake of transporting people. So, I mean, I wouldn't recommend that. Of course, the Andromeda is tempting. However, unless you have just a group of people who want to go, and want to fight and do everything. But I'd say that you can't go wrong with the Cutlass Black. You can put at least 3 people in there, right?
Yeah.
You can do cargo and everything. So it's the only Cutlass I don't own.
Yeah.
I upgraded it. I'm not really attracted to it, but being realistic about it, you'd have to say the Cuddy Black.
It's funny you would say that. I never, when the game first kicked off and the Cuddies came out, I hated the Cuddies design. I never liked them. I liked their functionality, though. I liked what the blue did. I liked what the red did. I liked what the black did. I just thought they were ugly, ugly ships. And then after the rework, I started liking them more. And now, even though I don't own one, well, I own a red, and that's because I want to do the medical stuff. But I like it now. The versatility of it, I like a lot. And that's, to me, I think someone said this earlier about how a lot of people will migrate from like an Avenger. They'll take that step. Back then, it was only like a $25 jump, and you would go to a Cuddy, which gave you both solo and multiplayer use, which, the Avenger didn't do.
Yes.
But yeah, so far, that seems to be the one. You didn't mention the Nomad, though. Any thoughts about the Nomad?
It's in a different class. I just think it's an overpriced the next tier down against the Avenger, to be honest with you. It doesn't belong here.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, thank you, brother. All right, that was Chu's thoughts. Let me bring in Pops in space. Pops, you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think Chu hit it on the nail right on the head.
Okay.
I think I've owned the Nomad. It's a nice pickup truck.
Okay.
But I think it's well overpriced.
Okay.
The Cuddy Black, as a multiplayer, to jump in as far as a starter package, between that and the freelancer and Melville's love shit. If it would have had that extra feature that Melville's loves, I would definitely go with the freelancer.
Okay.
But I'm going to say the Cuddy Black. The Constellation. Oh wow, that just doesn't make a starter package.
Yeah, that's a big jump. Yeah, I mean, you look at the price of the Nomad at 95, and you look at that at it's almost $200 more. That's a big jump coming in as a starter. You know, I think that's something you grow into. You know, before a starter, it's a bit much. I'm actually surprised that's in there as a starter. You know.
Yeah. But, and I definitely agree with you. I think the Cuddy. I know a lot of people not gonna like it, but I always thought the Cuddy was the ugliest thing flying. But you know, so it would definitely be the Black and the freelancer, and I think I would nudge going to the Black.
Okay, all right, we'll put that one down. Thanks, Pops. Alrighty, let me bring in Stunner, then Fist to Face, and then we're gonna move on to our next thing. Stunner.
Hey, Griff. Hi again.
Yep.
So I'm assuming if you're recommending a ship to somebody, you like that somebody. So for that reason, I would never recommend them a Nomad. I don't know. I've never liked that ship. That's honestly not
you don't like the floaty that it doesn't need to land on the legs. It just kind of hovers.
Nope. I actually hated that feature about it. I think it's an ugly ship. It like when you go in the door and you stand in the back of it, it's like confusing for a small ship as it is. It's ridiculous in my opinion.
Okay.
But you know, and it actually is uglier than the Cutter of Medicaid. So, but the Cutlasses have always been great ships. You know, I'm not a Drake guy, but you know, Cutlasses are great ships. I think it's a little unfair to compare it against the Constellation Andromeda, not just because of the price. You get so much more ship there. I mean, you can take a medical Ursa with you in the Andromeda, and I mean, you've got the red and the black, plus better firepower, better everything. You know, so of these four, I'd have to recommend the Andromeda. But you know, if you took that out, I would definitely recommend the Cutlass Black. The Freelancer's not bad. I think everybody covered everything with it. Like, you know, it needs love, all this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
And I just have a bias against the Freelancer series. I had a Max back in the day. I owned one, and I just had a bad experience with it. She didn't treat me good. So.
Really? That's interesting because of the Freelancers, that's usually the one that most people are cool with. So you had a bad experience with yours.
Yep. It was back during the time when we were talking about it last night with the Starfarer. It was back during I had just gotten it during the time when there were a lot of issues with gravity at landing zones, and if you remember, there were a bunch of ships that like magnetized to the.
Oh yeah, the floors, wow.
And it was just always a problem when I was trying to use it. It just kind of put me off from the Freelancers.
Oh wow, okay. Because for me, if there was any Freelancer, I mean, I own a DUR because of I got the Mega Exploration package, so it comes with it. But if there was one that I would go with for me, I always thought the Max, especially because of the capacity. You know, at the time, I thought it was just kind of the footprint of it isn't so bad in comparison, like a freaking Connie, which is gigantic. But yeah, that's interesting that you had a bad experience with that, because most people who once they have the Max, they're kind of sold on the Max. So I'm kind of surprised. It's interesting. Okay. Well, I hate to say it, but as I said earlier, I hated the Cuddy Black, but I got to go with the Cuddy too. So, all right, buddy, thank you. All right, let me bring in Fist. I got to bring. Okay, Fist. Yeah, Fist. Yeah. Okay, hey, Fist, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. All right. So my take on this is two ways. All right.
Okay.
If you're coming in as a single player, right? Then I have to recommend you a Cuddy Black.
Okay.
If you're coming in as a group and you know you're coming in with a group of players, then I gotta recommend you to the Constellation.
Now I hear you, but you can't count with this game. You know how people come and go in this game. I wouldn't be counting on. I could have 5 friends say, "Yeah, let's get it," and I'll be like, maybe 2 of them suckers are gonna be here. I don't know.
I
if
agree
would
with
do
what
that.
you're saying. I agree.
Okay.
But at the same time, too, like you said to me, you know, if this, let's say hypothetically, you know, like me and Pops, we always play together, right? Let's say it's a group of friends that you know that's tight knit. You know they're gonna play.
I've heard that before.
Hey, you know they're gonna play. I'm just saying.
I've heard that before. Yeah, I've been gaming too long, but go ahead. I'll go along with you. Go ahead.
Let's go along with it. If that's the case, then I'll lead you down the road to a constellation.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Okay, before you go any further, let me ask you a question. Do you think it would have been better that they went with a Taurus versus, because I'm looking at this price tag. I mean, if they were going to go starter, would it have been better for them to say, we'll do the Taurus instead of the I mean, I get they're both multiplayer crews, but you're talking 190 versus 275, and I'm looking at the gap between the freelancer, and maybe that's what's messing with me too. I mean, that's a huge financial jump for a quote unquote starter ship.
Again, this is why I say this question is very difficult, because again, you're talking to somebody who, like you said, who has no idea. You're talking about a starter person.
Right.
So again, you're trying to lay out all the facts to that person and try to say, hey, listen, okay, so what are you trying to do? Who are you coming into the game with? And let's say hypothetically all of the chips fall if they're coming into the game with a crew. Then yeah, I would agree that the Taurus would be the better bang for their buck. You know what I'm saying? But it's difficult because I agree. When I saw the constellation up there, I was like, what?
I was surprised too when they said that was a starter. I'm like, oh, really? But it's my starter wallet. I don't know about this starter stuff, but you know, okay, if y'all say so.
I was trying to figure out who was at the board meeting on that one. Like, listen, let me hand you this pink slip there, buddy. That one is not working.
that one seems like a stretch to me, but you know, for some people maybe it will be. And I hate to say this, the Connie was actually I want to say it was my I bought the Avenger first, and then I want to say I bought a Connie next. I honestly think that's what I think that's what it, because back then the Connie was $225, if I'm remembering correctly, and I think I bought a Connie next.
Well, see, here's the thing, and that's what I'm saying. If you remember with me and Pops, Pops said it though. Me and him bought a Mustang.
Okay.
And then, like you said, our brains saw a constellation because we first came into the game, and we were in the Star Citizen, I think the Reddit channel, whatever, and that's when we met a couple of folks. And we was like, and they started us off. It's like, oh, okay, that's what we could do. And we said, okay, well, you know what? Let's get rid of this and let's go to that, the constellation, right? Okay. Let's jump in it. Let's hop in it, and it started the book. So that's why I'm kind of saying, if you're coming into the game and you know you're going to be doing things, and you know, let's put it this way. Let's say you know you're going to be making friends. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me not say, know you're going to be making friends, then I would recommend that. But if you know you're going to be a single player, then I have to go with the Cuddy Black.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right, bro. Thank you much. All right. Let me give some shout outs real quick. DK Wildcat, I saw you earlier. Thank you so much for that sub, 28 months. And also ZP, Zombie Pig, 17 months. Thank you as well. You guys are awesome. Gonna bring in, last but not least, the one and the only FC himself, Fast Cart.
Hey, I'm back.
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna come at a different angle than most of the people who've been in here today.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at the package as a whole. So the Nomad is it has utility. It has I want to say 12 SCU. Okay. And it's okay for the price, but I think people will probably be outgrown quickly once they start making money in the game.
Okay.
Now I've had all of these at one point, except for the Cutlass Black.
Okay.
Or maybe I use the Cutlass Black as a CCU, because the Cutlass used to be had a rework in 2017, 2016.
Okay.
And I never liked how the Cutlass Black looked before. It's okay now. I can deal with it, but I have so few Drake ships.
Mm-hmm.
I went with the freelancer MIS, the missile boat.
Okay.
For a while, but I've outgrown outgrown each ship on of these four.
Okay.
But I'm gonna come at a different angle. One thing the Cutlass had going for it that the others don't is the hangar. It has a VFG hangar. Now people don't know these things. Different ships have different hangars associated with them, and the Cutlass has a VFG hangar. Now the great thing about the VFG hangar is that if you own the VFG hangar, there are 4 hangars. So if you own the VFG hangar, you own all 4. You own the Southland, the Airview, the Revel New York, and the VFG. If you own the Revel New York, you have the 3 hangars out other than the VFG. And if you own Airview, you just have the Southland and the Airview hangar. So if people want to put value to that, they can.
I didn't know that. I've been around as long as you, and I did not know that.
Because I used to run the package comparison. So that's how I know.
Okay.
And the other thing is, the freelancer had more stuff in the package. If you look at compare the freelancer and the Cutlass, the freelancer has the digital game soundtrack, the digital Star Citizen manual. Star Citizen digital download, they both had that. But the freelance also has a digital engineering manual and the digital star map. The Cutlass only has the game, UEC, digital download, and the hangar, and 6 months insurance.
Okay. All right. See, there we learn something new every day. See, we learned something while you're here today, guys. Either I've forgotten it or I didn't know it. I can't even remember now. I remember something special about the VFG, but it wasn't that. But wow. That's great information to know. Okay.
And if you look at the Andromeda package, I agree with you. They should have gone with the Taurus package instead. And the Taurus used to be a starter package.
Right.
But now it's just the Andromeda. The Andromeda has 21 different things in it. It has a fish tank, workbench, cot, all that good stuff. So
Okay. All right, buddy. Thank you for bringing some information to us. All right. There we go. All right. Well, listen, thank you guys. You guys have got us kicked off pretty good here with our first segment, which was titled, Let's Get It Started. This whole thing today is about finish what you started. That's our theme for the day. Thank you for those of you who got here a little later. Appreciate you guys being here. We're going to hit this next topic, which I think is going to maybe spin some heads here. Start me up. All right. Pops, don't you say nothing. Fist, don't you say nothing. Fast Cart, don't you say nothing. Who knows where this song title comes from? I know one of y'all out there knows this one. Y'all knew Let's Get It Started. No, did anybody say who Let's Get It Started came from? I don't know if anybody said that earlier. No, Start Me Up. I forget now, whatever the first one was. Let's see, the Black Eyed Peas. Thank you, Danger Hobo. All right, thank you. All right, so let's the Stones. Yeah, okay. Let's take a look at this one here. I'm gonna show you guys something real quick. Okay, so I gotta change pages for this one. Hold on a second, I forgot. I gotta change pages. Okay, so I was, like all of us, we go in and we do our stuff in the game. We do our shopping and all this other stuff, right? And I went up to the console and I was buying stuff, and I was talking to some folks about this the other day. It was an observation that I made, and it was, if you see the prices of these items here, and CIG has recently been talking about the economy, right? They've been talking about, starting to introduce, and it was kind of funny because Disco said, we have an economy? And they're like, yeah, we do. And actually, there is an economy, because if there wasn't an economy, you guys wouldn't be out there trying to earn AUEC, you wouldn't be buying components, you wouldn't be buying weapons, you wouldn't be buying clothes. Even though it is a wonky economy, there is an economic dynamic that takes place in Star Citizen, and we go out, it's one of our motivations for why we do what we do in the game, for some of us. And so The base economy that we have, it seems like CIG is ready to start introducing that, particularly with the introduction of the new cargo refactor, the hangars, the inventory system. All this stuff is about to change for us, and not just time sync, but money sync. Money sync is going to also be a really big factor in here with us. Logic Trust, thank you so much for that follow. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. So anyway, doing the norm, right? The thing we always do, pick our flight suits, our armor, our weapons, our food, all that stuff. And I was going down the list of items here, and I was just looking at the base flight suits. The typical it was a TCS 4 undersuit, 850 credits, right? Most of these here are 850. If we keep going down the list of items here, we get to armor. If you want to get your arms, they're $600, right? If you want to get that F8L FA Core Arctic Digital, 1,400 credits. Okay, legs, another 850, right? Keep going down the list here. If you want to get your weapon, right? You want to get your pistol, your LH86 Boneyard, cost you 680 credits. Step down to the C-54. You know the C-54, one of the more common weapons, like the P4 in the game. You see them everywhere. When you go out and try to do a mission somewhere, somebody's got a C-54 on them. 2,700 AUEC. Okay. And let's go to the next level, even beyond that. Just as simple as medical stuff, right? You want to get your med pen that used to be cheaper. They're 100 AUEC. If you want to get the med guns that you can really take care of yourself when you're out in the field and take care of the people that are with you. Wow. Look at the price. 1,200. Now, the reason why you say, Griff, what are you trying to tell us? Well, I'll tell you what I'm telling you. Let me go back to this other page, and I'm going to show you something that was really interesting. And CIG this week or last week, when they got ready to kick off Jumptown, of course, as you guys know, they implemented a ship sale, which is not unusual. But there was something that happened in the ship sale that caught my eye. Notice the Cutlass Black Starter package. They gave a discount to it, right? They knocked it down a little bit. Instead of it being $125, you can get it with 10% off, and you can get it at $112. And that caught my eye because one of my friends, Aztec Son, had been talking about whether he was going to upgrade his ship or whether he was just going to step up to another level so he could start doing a little bit more because he's getting more comfortable in the game. And as I was looking at this, and I was thinking, well, maybe I'll recommend he go to the Cuddy. As you noticed, a lot of people here said, it seemed like the vote went to the Avenger and the Cuddy. The Cutter, the Avenger, and the Cuddy seemed to be where all the votes went. And he's got a Cutter now. And so I was like, say, well, if you're thinking about it, maybe you want to think about it. But there was something about this package that caught me. And Fastcar put the link in there if you guys take a look at that link. What caught me was what the starting credits were for this thing. Now, I don't know if CIG's numbers that we're playing with now, I've always taken them as placeholders, right? Just something to get us going in the game. But I've been talking to people more and more who've been saying, they need to be, the prices of things need to be different. Some people hate the fact that prices have gone up. The ships just have gone up, right? I wanted a Vandal Blade, which was 2 million. Now it's 7 million, right? So I'm saying these guys are starting to tweak their numbers. And the Cutlass Black used to be 5,000 UEC when you got it. Now it's 1,000 UEC. So what is that telling me? That's telling me as CIG is getting to prepare us to get ready for this economy, when you start out the game, you're going to have 800 UEC. I'm sorry, 1,000 with a Cuddy. 1,000 UEC. So let's go back a page again. Follow me. I know I'm hopping all over the place here, y'all, but I want y'all to follow me on this, okay? I want y'all to follow me. If a flight suit is $850, are they going to lower that price? Is that the price we're going to be living with? Yeah, Captain Jones, some people got 20,000, but you get my point, right? That's if you bought a really big package, or 10,000, right? So my question is, what can you afford with 1,000 UEC? What can you buy? If this is the prices, you can't buy a core. You could buy a set of arms and a few med pens. You can't even buy a flight suit. You can't even buy a flight suit and a pair of arms. You can't buy a flight suit and a pistol, right? And you know when they're going to start you in the game, they're going to give you the bummy flight suit, right? The noob suit. You're going to get that, right? But look at the prices here. I'm starting to wonder now. When we start, we might be getting started in them starter ships for real. Y'all think I'm being funny? Listen, the economy that they're getting ready to kick in, people have gotten so acclimated to making all this money because for testing purposes, right? It's like when you go into the PTU and they give you 15 million. You don't even think about it. You just go start to spin. You don't even burn through that probably within the time frame you get to test. But the PU is testing too. And so my question to you guys is, what do you think is going to happen when we come into the game? If you got one of those packages where you got $5,000 credits to get started, maybe you did it from a referral, UEC, not AUEC, UEC. If you happen to buy a package that was a 10,000 package or a 20,000 package, if you know the cost of fuel, repairs, how many of you guys, when this new patch came out, when 323 came in with like 20 or 30,000, you were getting ready to land and the cop stopped you and you didn't see it and they fined you for 20 grand and your money went out the window. So my question to you is, where do you think this economy is going to go? Where are we going to start? Is this going to now impact you? I thought I was going to be flying my Connie, or I thought I was going to be flying my Corsair, or I thought I was going to be flying my Reclaimer. And instead, you're going to find yourself in your Aurora. I'm curious. All right. I got you. He's waiting in line here. Let's talk about this thing with this economy that's coming up, this projected economy. And we're doing a show next week called Economy 101 to talk about ways that people are going to make money in Star Citizen. Chew, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Griff.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. You sound depressed.
No. I mean, I thought about this a while back.
Okay. Okay.
Just like you said, when you look at your packs, even the larger packs, what they come up with in there. And I think that AUC and UEC are two different currencies, number one. Okay. I think this one with the flight suits, because you notice in the game now, they give you a flight suit. Right. You wake up with a flight suit or a hospital gown if you got killed, okay? I think the hospital gown example is a good example, right? Mm-hmm. So now you wiped out. Will CIG start you like that with some clothes, some underwear? Or will they start you? They start you with the flight suit. I mean, honestly speaking, I think if they start you with the flight suit, I think that your money's going to go further in the game. Okay. But it'll be such a larger scale. I think it's going to be more on the supply side is going to be the struggle, right? So, things aren't going to be as readily available. You're not going to just go to New Deal and be able to order endless ships. Wow. You're only going to have so much inventory. Just like now when you deal with food and drink, somebody can go, and I've done this for fun sometime at Orison, I'll buy out all of the certain type of drink. Right. And I mean, that's what I think is really going to be the challenge, is going to where you get it. I don't think the money's going to be as impacted as the value of just living and sustaining and surviving. The chip is a tool. The fuel that goes in the ship, right? Right. It looks cheap now, but when you, like you said, if you're starting with 1,000 and you have a large ship and it costs you 500 to fill it up for a medium ship, you got a choice to make. So yes, I think a lot of us are going to be held on to our starter ships for that reason, because we suspect we're going to be using them for a little while at least. Yeah. Those are good points. Okay. I appreciate that, you. Okie dokie. Let's bring in Pops in space next. Let's see what he's got to say. Pops, you there?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, I am. Yeah. Griff, we thought about it, me and my son, and what we did, we've tiered. Let's take our cargo ships that we have. We started with Sulans to get us off a starter package ship. Then we gone up to a little slightly bigger, the Zeus model. Not the Zeus, the CL. The CL. Yeah. So what we've done is we've looked at it and said, you know what, we're going to need to tier them
and work your way up.
Take the next step and the next step higher, and work our way up. Okay. Because you're not going to be able to start, in an Orion or maybe a whole A or something like that. But yeah, you're going to need to you're really going to need to think about the starting point of the game. You're definitely not going to pull out that javelin for quite a few months.
Okay.
Unless you on a money suicide mission.
Okay.
But yeah, we've tiered ours.
Okay.
And
so you can progress basically is what you're trying to do. So you can progress. Okay.
Right.
Fair enough.
Okay.
All right, Pops. Thank you, brother.
All right.
All righty. All right. Let me bring in FC. FC.
Yeah, Griff, you pointed this out to me a couple of days ago. I made a joke in chat, but might have some credence. Like when 1.0 is about to drop, people are gonna have their RSI credit that they may not have. They may not know what to do with, right? So they could invest some of that RSI credit into UEC because CIT does sell UEC. So I'm thinking on the last few days before 1.0 drop, there's going to be a run on getting some UEC once people figure out how stuff is going to cost in game. Because you like you said, this new Cuddy pack is only coming 1,000. People are going to be like, I could do with some more UEC. So the most you can get according to the website right now is $20 for 20,000 UEC chip.
Right. So let me ask you a question.
US dollars.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say that starting with ships like the Cuddy and down, starters, right? People who have come into the game and they just came in at a base level. Right. And I know there are people who have bought other packages and some of those packages have 10,000 or 20,000. So I don't even want to deal with that group. I want to deal with the people who maybe have 5,000 credits or less, even 1,000 or less. Okay. My question is, what can you buy with $1,000? And if you can't, what do you do?
Run missions or do the tutorial. Hopefully there'll be a tutorial by then. That's another thing CIG got to do. They got to get tutorial.
Are you saying that the tutorial will help? Are you saying tutorial will get them money if they complete it? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, because EVE Online does that. So I can see Star Citizen doing something along those lines, having a tutorial. You get some money, not a lot, but you get some money. Like maybe if you have $1,000, 1,000 UEC, maybe a tutorial may give you 5. I don't know.
Okay.
When you upon completion.
Okay. I'm curious from the perspective of CIG has talked about, people have always heard them say this. You never hear people really, I don't think people get it when they talk about that there will be land missions at the location that you're at. So for example, I come in with $1,000 and I need to do something to get some more money. There's a mission there that says go to area 6 and meet this person and deliver something. Go to area 12. I'm on ArcCorp. Go to area 12 and I need you to find something or fix something. Fix the radiator system. Something. That there's these other things that I haven't even left my planet. But I can earn money starting there and then venture out into space. Now, I'm not saying that that's what CIG is going to do, because that can also just be a way for people to make money anytime, right? If they just need to make money, maybe they lost all their money. They've got to figure out something to do and they don't have a ship or something, or they can't afford to even fly their ship. Well, there's some missions down where they are, where they could, maybe go see the Hurstons and go do something for them, right? A fetch mission. But I'm just wondering if everybody, and I've said this before, that when we get to 1.0, whether the dial gets reset for everybody, it makes it so that everybody starts out at as close to as possible on the same starting line. Am I making sense? Everybody's back in starter ships. Even if you own other ships, that's fine. But Pop said it earlier. You decide to take out that, let's say something as simple as my Connie. I may take it out that one time, but the cost of doing it actually makes it where once I went out, it was fun, but I'm not taking that thing out no more because it hit me by 40% of the money that I've got in my wallet right now.
Right.
So now I need to go back and think about, maybe I'll fly my Titan, or maybe I'll fly my Nomad, or maybe I'll just get in Fast Cart ship. Maybe he's progressed a little bit further, right? And the two of us can do something and split the money that way. You know, something if I did it by myself, it may be too difficult, but if it's two of us, we can make a little more money together. I'm wondering, go ahead. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And I think the importance of the show that you're doing currently is stressed here, because if you have a fighter like an arrow, are you going to do cargo missions or some such? So yeah, the importance of a good starter is a valid point. But hopefully CIG will get their ducks in a row, in old terms. Sorry, well, like if you have a fighter ship, you can run fighter missions and so on and so forth. So you can do ERTs and stuff like that. So hopefully those will work when 1.0 comes out, but we have to see.
Good point. Okay, thanks, buddy. All right, let me bring in Fist to Face, then I'm gonna bring in Red Bear. Oops, I brought myself up wherever they are. Let me bring in Fist to Face here. All right, Fist, you there?
Hey, how are you, girl?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I know you were talking. I had stepped away for a little bit, but you were talking about coming in and only having about like 5,000 to your name, right?
Well, I was using the example of that the new Cuddy package, gift package. They only give you 1,000 UEC, and my question is, what can you buy based upon prices? If the prices remain where they are right now, even though they are placeholders, but we know CIG is introducing economy. And if we use the numbers we have right now as some type of guide, and let me, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll put this in a different question to you since you're here. I can give you this fresh one. What if they're giving me 1,000? That's what they're saying they're giving me. This is solid. They're giving me 1,000 if I buy Cuddy Black. What should I be able to buy with 1,000 credits? What should I be able to do with that type of money when I'm coming in later, when 1.0 comes out? What do you think that will afford me to do? Because right now, a flight suit is 860 credits. But let's just say, even if that's not the number, what should I be able to buy a gun and a pistol and what should I be able to spend 1,000 credits on?
You know what? To be honest with you, okay. If you look at now, this is me based upon going with other games.
Okay.
Okay. But that's looking at Star Citizen as well. A game like this with Star Citizen, I would assume that it would at least get you, I'm not talking about heavy armor, but at least light armor. It should at least get you started, get you a nice pistol.
Okay. All right. So
a basic assault rifle.
Okay, so let's look at let's look at what you're talking about now. Right now, a flight suit is 850.
Yeah.
Wait. Let me keep adding. There's your there's your light right there. Another 600, so now you're at 1450. Then you're adding the core, which puts you at 2,000 roughly. Then the legs is another 7. That's 2,700. And then if you go beyond that, you get you a pistol, which is now 3,500. And mind you, I haven't even thrown ammo in. And then if you want to get you a med gun, you are now at just almost $5,000. That's all your money gone at 5,000. And you're telling me they should get all that for 1,000?
They should, and I'm gonna tell you the reason.
Wow, you really gonna devalue all that stuff. So you gonna make a flight suit worth what? $100? You gonna make a flight suit worth $100? Okay, why?
I'm gonna tell you the reason why. You are asking a player to spend $90. What was it on a Cuddy Black? $100 and something dollars to get into the game, right? You said, and you're giving them 1,000 UEC, right? You're basically telling that person, "Hey, buy this ship, but guess what you can do with it? Not a damn thing."
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Though. I gave you a flight suit and a helmet and a ship. Go fly it. Go fly it.
Go fly.
Why do you have to have armor? Why do you have to have armor? I fly half the time without armor on. Why do you have to have armor?
You're correct. Yeah, you're right.
You don't have to.
What is $1,000 going to do? Will do for you.
There you go. You're projecting what you want to do in the game versus what I'm asking you. I gave you your ship, your helmet, and your flight suit. Have at it, Hoss. That's what I see. Because I get what you're saying. You're trying to create it as here's a good way to get started in the game, and I get that. But the emphasis on that, everything you described to me was based upon PvP. If I'm doing cargo, I don't need my pistol. I don't need the armor. If I'm doing transport missions, I don't need the pistol. I don't need the armor. So the question becomes, what do you need to be able to get? Plus, you got to pay for fuel for your ship.
Well, here's the thing.
Right?
Here's the thing. Okay, so let's take fuel, right?
Okay.
Let's say you don't do armor.
Okay.
Let's take fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. So we probably got to factor how is fuel going to play in this game.
Which is why you're going to be in your starter ship, because fuel only costs you $10 to get.
Exactly. So that's why I'm trying to say fuel ain't gonna get cheap. It's gonna get high. And 1,000 UEC ain't gonna probably probably not gonna take you too far, right?
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. Somebody said something about the starter. Fesco was talking about the starter mission, right? Which was a good point. I think that is a good thing that CIG needs to implement to get folks more, because the reason why I'm saying it is that if you look at it, Griff, from like just face value, right? I buy a ship at, let's say it's at 112, right?
Yeah.
I'm a new player coming in. I'm at 112, and you give me 1,000 UEC, and now I'm thrown into a game. I'm looking at prices, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, what can I do with that?
Yeah.
Now you got to remember, you're talking about putting in a starter player.
Yeah.
I remember my first time coming into the game. Luckily, YouTube was around, but even still with that, it was still like, it was rough.
Yeah.
Like, Star Citizen does not have a good learning curve.
Right.
You are thrown into the gauntlet as soon as you hit that start play button.
You are right now. But when you start at a landing zone, more than likely your landing zone will be a friendly space to you. It will not be a space that is hostile in the sense of your gameplay. The design will be that as you go out, you start to reach the challenges and everything else, right? And I got to move on. I get where you're going with it.
I
don't know. We'll see. I hear what you're saying. Yeah. We'll see.
Saying, you said from a starter point of view. So
from a start, right? And I'm saying from a starter point of view, right? From a starting point of view, yes, from a starting point of view, absolutely. But yeah, okay. Let me get some more folks in. Okay. But you gave me something to think about. Okay. All right. Let me bring in Red here. Before I want to address something, before Red speaks, I want to say something. Jay Hyde, thank you. First time sitting in the chat. Appreciate that. Jay Hyde says something. Highfield says, this isn't important. When you get into this game, you do things with others. True. People are kicking folks 100,000 or more at a time, so your 1,000 isn't important. And that may be very true, Jay. But I'm putting it from the perspective of once this game hits 1.0, people aren't going to have 100,000. They're not going to have it. What they're going to have is their startup UEC. AUEC is gone. There's no crediting to that. If you've got 20 million AUEC, they're not going to transfer that over to UEC. Whatever you have in your starting package is what you're going to start out with. So if you've got a Cuddy Black, all you'll have is 1,000. If someone else has several packages and maybe they've got 20,000 in their pack, I think 20,000 is the most you can get. People are throwing away money right now because it's worthless. It has no value. People will toss you $1 million right now because it has no real world value. But later, when you are dependent upon that money for renting your hangar space, renting your hab, paying taxes, paying insurance on your ships, paying insurance on your cargo, medical insurance, all the hangar fees, all this other stuff that comes up, people ain't gonna be throwing money out like that until they reach a certain level. All of us are starting somewhere between 1,000 UEC and 20,000. And if you've got several packages, maybe you've got 100,000, maybe you've got 200,000, but that also means you've got a fleet of ships that you've got to spread that 100 or 200,000 out across. So the dynamics change later. It's not the same game when we get to 1.0. But right now, you're right. People toss that money around like it's no big deal. Okay, Red, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah, first of all, you can get some at the moment free money and armor when you do the tutorial.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of fixes that.
Helps a little bit.
Yeah, well, quite a bit. Then you have the referral code.
Are you going to do the tutorial when the game starts? Are you going to go back into it?
If it gets me some free money and loot, yeah, I would be stupid not to.
Okay, fair enough.
Free is free, right? So that and there's another thing why I always say, like, that's why I keep my starter ship to keep that around so I can earn some extra money and not wasting money. Because what use does it have if I take out a bigger ship like the Constellation or even the Cutlass Black, which uses a lot more fuel and costs a lot more to run in comparison to an Avenger, right?
Yeah.
And I think people just overestimated their biggest ships, that they will easily make money, but you need money to make money.
That's true. No, very true.
So that's why you always keep the smaller ships around you.
Just in case. Yeah, just in case.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
So I think it's not too bad for to give people 1,000. Although I think for the Cutlass Black 1000 is kind of cutting it really short.
I think it's cutting it real short. And again, they may adjust the numbers.
I saw like 2,000 or so when we got our first ships. The Aurora was like 2,000.
Oh, they were more. Oh, yeah, they were more. Yeah, they've been reducing it. Yeah, Fastcart went back and looked at the old things to see, and we saw that they actually dropped it down now. And I'm saying there's a reason why they're dropping it, right? I think it's because they're preparing to start kicking in this economy thing. Those numbers we have right now may be totally nothing but placeholders. I'm just using it as an example to challenge us to all think about whatever we get, whether it's 1,000, 10,000, 20,000, how will you manage that when you get started? Because we've gotten so used literally to just having money flowing out of our ears, right? We've gotten used to that, and we're going to have to adjust to it later.
And I think it's going to be more interesting when the stuff we mine and the salvage, that actually means something, right? That we can store it somewhere and we can get it out, or refuel our ships with it, what we actually mine.
Yep.
I'm waiting for that.
Agreed. I am too. Okay, Red. Thank you, bro. Yeah. All right. I want to say something too. Jay hit a good point here. Jay said there's going to be a lot of 890s and stuff sitting in their hangars. I would agree with you 100%. I'm one of the owners of an 890, so I get it. I agree. It's going to be a while before that thing goes out. But I will say this too. There's going to be a lot of military ships laying in there too. A lot of Idrises, a lot of Polarises, a lot of maybe, I don't know. Yeah, Perseuses too. Maybe. Yeah, I'll say them. Javelins. Why? Because they don't make money. They're not profit ships. Military stuff is not about profit. And you're going to need money to fund those things. Just like people who are into the luxury side, you're going to need money to fund that 600i, that touring. You're going to need money to fund that 890. These ships are fun to have and they're great. But in the beginning, if numbers balance out, I mean, not to be funny, but in real life, this is me being my yacht person. There are people who have yachts who literally will tell you that in order for them to just turn it on at the dock and run it, or fuel costs, can run anywhere from $7,000 US for real up to $12,000, $15,000 just to get the ship running. That's it. I don't expect these ships in the game to be any different. I don't expect that if I take my 890 out. I remember when the 890, people used to complain about how quickly it burned off hydrogen fuel. That's what yachts do. They're not fuel efficient. And if you can't afford the gas, you don't need one. That's a reality. It's not supposed to be the most economical thing that flies around in the universe. It is a gas guzzler, especially leaving atmosphere. Now, when it's in space, it runs great. But when you're going out of atmosphere with an 890 or reclaimer, anything, expect your fuel to be ridiculous. Okay. And so I think when people say, they need to adjust it. No. That's exactly what those ships do. They are nothing but AUE sinks. I was going to say money sinks, where you got to pour money into them in order to have them. That's their negative side. Okay. Military ships are going to be the same way, gang. Hate to tell y'all that. You ever guys watch that Idris when it came in and landed on the surface and it's burning all those VTOLs? You think that fuel's going to be cheap? No, guarantee you. Be ready. Be ready. It's going to cost a lot of money. Anyway, I got Admiral Kusanagi, Mr. Military himself. He could tell you this is the truth about running military ships. Anyway, go ahead. Hey, Admiral, how are you?
Hey guys. So
you got three things there. First thing, I'm going to touch base with that. It reminded me of Starman when he had the movie with I think it's Jeff Bridges or I forget which one, and Karen Allen, and he's like surprised that the car is like going empty so fast. He's like, "Didn't we just like fuel this thing up like like a couple miles back?" And he's like, she's like, "Oh no, but we need to refuel again." And he's like, "What?" So I kind of feel I don't mind like sticker price being like $1,000 a gallon or something like that. I just feel like they should be they should have like a level of being more fuel efficient and not being like like I'm not blowing fuel away, but they should they should be able to get me from A to B and likewise depending upon the type of how fast I'm going with the different levels of modules and stuff like that. Yeah. Aside from that, let's talk about. I've mentioned this before, where we don't know the value of things in the future. Right. Where $1 billion to us could be $1 million in the game. I'm looking at the Pyramid medical device is 1.2 thousand here, but an iPhone today is $3,000. I think is like the newest one of crazy crap. So. That could be a lot of money. That could be that could be 10 grand. So we don't know exactly what the value of money will be. It'll have to come with the economy. And then thirdly, when we talk about these ships and the UECs with the ships, it's just interesting because if I have enough money in business to go buy a destroyer, or we'll just say a frigate or a light frigate, we'll say the Perseus, right? Okay. Then you would expect me to have a certain amount of money in my account. Right. Like they say that people who have the Auroras, just the little crappy Auroras, are actually very, very well off. They say people who fly those in the Star Citizen universe are doing much better than the average person. So if that's true, why am I starting off at like $0 or like 5,000 UEC? Should the value of the what I quote unquote invested in the Star Citizen's development for the company, should that offset and should I get a benefit of providing them money for a larger and larger ship? If I buy an Idris, should I maybe get 500,000 UEC?
The reason why I'll tell you no,
to pay for gas at least.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why no, and I understand the rationale. Don't get me wrong. The rationale I get, but I'll tell you the reason why I think the answer is no. Is because at that point you have truly shifted to pay to win. If I'm giving you that much of an advance to be able to do something in the game that others and I think that, remember I talked about the starting line, they want all of us to start somewhere. I think that even if I own the 890, the game is not intended for me to jump in day one and to be living like a financial mogul on my 890. There's that dynamic of me building up to that. Having the ship is great, but it's in the garage. The starting point for equity for everybody in the game is that everybody comes in at the same place. And we grow from there. Now, mind you, I'm talking about on day one. Now, of course, later on, other people are going to enter at that same level. They're going to come in. And you and I, who are 6 months in, are going to have more money, more opportunity than those people who came in behind us. But day one, we get these numbers. And that's why we are talking about this now, because to your point, 1,000 credits may be way more than worth than what we think, because Fizz was saying, no, they'll lower the prices. All I know is that right now, those numbers of what they give us with the package are the numbers. I don't think those numbers are going to change, whether it's 1,000, 10,000, 20,000. Maybe 20,000 will be enough to run a Perseus. Maybe that's enough to get you out there and get you started. I don't know, because like you said, the real numbers aren't there yet. But I do believe that CIG wants us to literally start the finish line. I mean, the starting line together. And one advantage that you and I have is that we know the game and we know how the game is played. So we know how to step in day one and accelerate bringing in money, where someone who's brand new has got to learn all that. We're going to leave them in the dust. You know what I mean?
So what happens when I come in and what happens when I come in day 90? So now I don't get to start in the same
as a new person.
Same race, like you. We talked about like you got into Eve, and you had all these people, and you were like, oh wow, this is a lot. There's these giant factions because these people have been playing the game for so long. Right. Well, now, yeah, you're starting off like in 0, and you have to work your way up there. Right. But there's no difference then. There's no difference if I come in 2 years after the PU's out, after 1.0's out.
There's a difference because in EVE, the economy is totally player ran. So the players get to literally dominate the economy in that game. Star Citizen is not going to be designed that way.
So should the NPC orgs and stuff like that, should they start at 0, or should they're already going to be above us, right?
The NPC orgs, you mean like in the game? Like the gangs and stuff? They're established. They're established. And mind you, if I start out at ArcCorp, like I'm just picking a random planet, right? Let's say I start out at ArcCorp because this is the way the game is now. My venturing, I could be wrong, Admiral. I'm just trying to read tea leaves. My venturing into Pyro ain't gonna be no time soon. I'm gonna be. No, it's not because of the fear. I'm talking about the economics and the logistics it's very costly to of going right. I've got to build up to interstellar, jumping from systems to systems. That's not going to be, now mind you, if I want to do it day one, there's nothing going to stop me from doing it. If I just decide to get in my little Pisces and I just want to see, sure, I could do that. I'm not saying you can't go. I'm talking about when have I built myself up to the place where now I can start going outside of this system, even outside of this planet. Maybe everything I do in the beginning is just ArcCorp, getting familiar, building my apartment up, doing things there, running some missions. I moved from 1,000 within a few days to maybe I've got 20,000 now. Now I'm ready to go over to visit Microtech and I do some stuff over there. That's how I see the growth of expansion in the system. Okay.
Well, it's like what you've said before is like you only spend as much as you can lose.
Yep.
So you have people in the game and they have $1 million UEC and they put it on a Hull C and they lose the ship. And they're like, oh, painful. No, I have no money.
Painful.
It's like, no, you're investing into building up your quote-unquote empire or building up your company. And then you get your defenses up, and then you're going to go into Pyro in a well-positioned place. And even if it goes poorly, you're not going to lose your shirt if you end up losing everything in Pyro.
Exactly. Now, the Prisoner says something here that I was thinking earlier in Prisoner. I'm going to go ahead and say it because you said it, and I didn't because I was like, but you're right. In some MMOs, you start with $0. You start with nothing, and you have to start building. I think that this is just startup capital. And to your point, Admiral, will the startup capital means that I can buy a flight suit and a helmet, or does the startup capital mean, like Fist said, that I can buy startup? I can buy a helmet, a gun, a rifle, a couple bottles of water, some medicine, and I can step out. We don't know, but this whole point of this conversation is the challenge is because we've gotten in our psyche these millions, these hundreds of thousands that we can gain literally within hours. I mean, we went out into the Vulture last night with Captain Serious Fun. We probably made $300,000 just leisurely sitting there, right? We've gotten used to bringing in revenue like that. And I just believe that that's going to slow, that's going to scale, it's going to pace back a little bit. You're going to make enough money to say, I made some money today, enough money to feel like you advanced somewhat today, right? But not enough money to say I'm going to work all day today and go on my 7-day world cruise tomorrow. I think that type of money is going to disappear. Otherwise, we'll have the fate of games like Elite Dangerous, where folks in Elite had billions of credits, and to the point where there was nothing for them to do with it. They have billions and billions of credits. DK used to tell us that, Griff, I got like 20-30 billion dollars in credits, and the only thing I'm doing is paying for my maintenance on my what do they call it, his flagship. I forget what they call the thing, the carrier. That was it. He didn't even know what to do with the money. He couldn't, there was nothing to spend it on. He had everything that he could get. And when that happens, guess what players stop doing? They stop playing the game. Yeah. They stop playing the game. So this balance deal that CIG, it's going to be interesting to see how they work through this, how they keep that, so that you feel like you are making progress and you are bringing in money and you feel satisfied with the work, and at the same time not allow certain aspects of game design to make it so that people can get there so quickly that even though that hunger of earning that money is there, they find themselves up against a brick wall so quickly that there's no more desire to work for it. That's why you've got to have all these money sinks, the rentals, the fees, the charges, the taxes, the constant fuel. All that stuff has to be there because it keeps us saying, I got to keep making money. Not because I'm making myself wealthy, but just to exist in the game, I need, in order to have the fun, these are the things that come along with it. I've got to pay for my insurance. I've got to pay for my medical care. I've got to pay for this. I've got to pay for that. But it can't be so overwhelming that you feel like you're being nickeled and dimed. That's the other side of that, So anyway, we'll see what happens, Admiral. You know, you and I are here for the ride. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, buddy. All right. Hey, listen, we need to take a quick commercial break. We got about 20 minutes left before we're going to wrap up because I've got to break out of here in a little bit, but we are going to hit this last topic in just a moment. So you guys, thanks for all the people who've come in so far. Thank you guys for being here, who are hanging out with us. The title of our show today is Let's Finish What You Started. Finish what you started. Okay. We're going to do a quick commercial break and then we're going to come back and then we'll wrap it up. Okay. Thanks again for being here. Let's see. Okay. Once again, those of you who are here, our subscribers, thank you guys so much for being here with us. Really appreciate you guys being here. Hope you're enjoying the content today. Did this whole musical theme today for our different topics and titles. Our first one, as you guys know, whoops, I got hitting the wrong button. Where is it at? There we go. Our first title was Let's Get It Started. Our second one was Start Me Up with the Rolling Stones. All right. And then we've got this last one, Finish What We Started. And this one's going to be a different perspective a little bit, but I think hopefully you guys will be able to jump in. Please feel free to jump in. Don't forget when the link comes up. If you've never come in and talked to me before, please do. We're always happy to have new voices. We've got some very faithful and dedicated voices of folks who come in, but we always open to hearing new voices too, because that makes the show even better. So hopefully you guys can come in and visit with us. All right, so we got 5 seconds and we're going to be right back to our show. Let's see, get ready for number 3 here. Okay, hey, we are back. Let's go ahead and hit this third topic, our final topic for the day. It's called Finish What You Started. I'm going to show you guys a video. Okay, this came from a conversation I was having with a good friend of mine in my org yesterday, and he was expressing some real frustration. I felt bad. I felt bad for him because I understood where he was coming from, and I was hoping to give him some glimmer of hope, and I got him to laugh a little bit and chuckle, but I could tell even at when I left the conversation, I could tell he was still feeling kind of certain kind of way. Okay. But anyway, the title for this is Finish What You Started. And I think that there is a sentiment that's growing
very happy to be here
in the Star Citizen community. See, Colt Recoil, thank you for follows. Thank you for the follow. And Instigated, thank you earlier for the sub. I'm sorry I missed that. Thank you. Thank you for the sub. Appreciate both of you. There is a sentiment that I'm observing that's really interesting. And it's the fact that people want CIG to deliver, right? They want them to finish what they started. And as the development is unfolding now, with Squadron 42 kind of moving toward its culmination, being delivered to us as a community and to gamers. And then Star Citizen getting refocused now and them trying to deliver product to us also that we've been waiting on literally for years. There's a sentiment of wanting these things, right? We want, as people will say, we want the game. But the other side of the coin is that as they are beginning to deliver Chris Roberts' vision, some of what we're getting, people aren't enjoying. They're not liking it. And we've had this before. Something gets introduced in the game and people kind of, I don't like this. Could we change this? Why are they doing this? I'm not talking about that. A lot of things in the past have been about testing. They've been about trying things out. I remember back when we used to get interdicted. People, used to get mad because they got interdicted out and the interdiction went away. Now we get interdicted. It comes in a very balanced way. You get it once in a while, they tested it and now they've given it to us, right? Flight model. How many times is the flight model? It's like the 4th and 5th flight model I think we've gone through. Same things. We have a fit about it. They do something to it. We like it better. Master modes is still being worked on. And now the cargo refactor, right? People have been wanting the cargo. We've been wanting the hangars, persistent hangars and the cargo, and we want to refine the inventory. And now that they're giving us the cargo factor and they're talking about, you're going to have people help you, or you're going to have to hire NPCs, or it's going to take an hour. And people are pushing back and saying, oh, why do we have to do that? It's a time sink. They're making these time sinks, these artificial time sinks, blah, 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 right? But then we tell them to finish what they started. And CIG has told us, whether you know it or not, that this is what the game is going to be. They didn't just start making this up last year, year before. These elements have been a part of Chris Roberts' vision from day one. They may have shifted, modified, but the core of these ideas have been there. Chris Roberts wanting us to fly in close and see ships and da-da-da-da has nothing to do with physics, has nothing to do with 900 years in the future. It has to do with the fact that Chris Roberts wants us to be able to fly up and see ships. It's that simple. It's not Arma. It's not DCS. It's not Tarkov. It's the game that Chris Roberts wants to build. And as we tell them to finish it and we want it, are we ready? Are we ready for that game? Or are we holding on to what we've been used to? Are we holding on to what was being tested? Are we holding on to the game that we pictured because we grew up on Star Wars, Star Trek, Expanse, the Firefly? I can go down the list. Is that what we want? Do we really want him to finish what he started? Do we want CIG to finish it? And are we prepared for what they give us? Are we really ready for it? I'm going to show you guys a video and then I'm going to bring some people in. I recorded this yesterday. This is me, my character. I left Area 18 walking, which is something that most of us don't do in the game. Most of us run. We run everywhere. And it's interesting that in a lot of games, there's usually walk or run, right? And many games are defaulted to run. They're defined. I mean, you run. You push W, you run. And quite often it's the reverse. If you hold down Shift, maybe you'll walk. CIG gave us this mouse wheel control that allows us to go anywhere from a very slow pace, to a full bore run. They give us the option to go through the game the way we want to go through the game. When I leave Area 18, I leave my hab, if I run to the space station, if I run, and if I'm lucky enough that usually lucky enough to run so that when I get to the tram is there and I get in before the door closes, and if I make it all the way over to the spaceport, the total time is less than 3 minutes. 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes for me to do that. If I don't have to wait for the tram, if I have to wait for the tram, it turns into maybe 3 minutes and 20 seconds, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. When I walked from my hab and walked, as you see right here, the total time was 5 minutes and 58 seconds. Only 2 minutes longer was my time. As you walk and you're doing this, there's all types of things that we go past. When I come downstairs, the very first thing I see is a hot dog stand. Across the way is a pizza vendor. There's the Cubby Blast where I buy my supplies, and there is the clothing store, Cassava, right across from me. As I walk past there, I go past the big globe that's out there spinning, and I've got the TDD there, and I've got the administration building behind me, and I've got the hospital, right? Empire right there. And of course, I go past some other staircases that lead down to a magazine stand where there's candy and all types of stuff sold and all this stuff. I've got a Dumpers Depot there, right? I've got what's the place called? The bar. I've got the bar there, right? I've got all these different places there, right? But I pass all these things along the way. Now you can see here, I'm waiting for the tram. Tram wasn't there, and it still took me 5 minutes and 58 seconds. If the tram had been there, it would have shaved off another 30 seconds probably. I pass all this stuff. I pass benches and chairs and all this other stuff, right? Then I get to the spaceport. There's more chairs. There's a couple restaurants. There's a place for me to rent ships, and there's a viewing place, all this other stuff, right? And, there's this dynamic in the game where there are all these set pieces in the game that for the last 8 years, 9 years, we've ran past. We've ran on our way to go do whatever it is we want to do in the verse, which is fine, We're trying to get out there and do some stuff, and I get that. But I want to remind us that there's reasons why all this stuff is there, and it's not always cosmetic. Now, that's difficult because in most video games, when things are like this in the game, they are there for cosmetic reasons. They're there because it just makes the place feel lived in, or, what would a world be without having these things there? But they've been really meticulous about these vendors who speak to you and these places where you can buy things and shop and all this other stuff. And I often wonder whether or not that aspect of the gameplay is something that is being missed by us as players. Do we see gameplay there? Now, maybe it's not your type of gameplay. Maybe it's not. Some of those things they try to make necessities, right? The hospital, necessity. Food stand, necessity. But beyond the game mechanic side of it, what else do we see there? And so I think as this game continues to get built out, the finishing what you started starts to implement why these different locations are important to the development of Star Citizen and the Star Citizen universe. Now, this stuff is connected. It's not just there as a set piece, but it's there because there's going to be reasons why we need to tap into it and use it. So if you're that person who has I shared this last week. I was telling some people that we took a C2 out, 3 friends with myself. And we had 2 people at the top of the ramp, 2 people at the bottom of the ramp. And we had a fully loaded C2, had everything from 1 SCU boxes to 32 SCU boxes. And we said, okay, let's time this. Let's see how fast we can unload this ship, because people were saying, oh, it's going to take too long. It's going to take up my day. With the 4 of us doing it, 3 of us who were pretty much veterans, 1 person who was brand new with using the multi-tool, we unloaded that ship in 19 minutes. 19 minutes. That was it. Okay. Now, of course, loading it would probably take a little more time. I'll admit that, right? Because you got to get all the boxes in the right way and stuff. But how often am I going to be doing that? And even so, my point is that we took the biggest cargo ship that can land in a hangar, well, at least one of the biggest ones, with 696 units or whatever it is, and did it in 19 minutes. And we had fun doing it. It wasn't a chore. It didn't feel laborious. Before we knew it, we were down to the last box in 19 minutes. Now, there are some people who have argued this argument about CIG and time, how much time it takes. And you can see I'm almost at the spaceport now. When I get to my terminal, I'm supposed to stop talking. How much time it takes to do things in this game. My question becomes, what's the compromise for CIG? Should CIG compromise time and distance for the sake of expeditiously allowing game players to do things faster, to accomplish more in a time frame? I know that we all don't have a lot of time. We don't all have 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours to play the game. And so we want to feel like we've accomplished something within that time frame. We want to feel like we want to feel like we achieved something. My question becomes, what is it we're trying to achieve? I think the game industry has made it where our achievement is always the end goal. And I'm going to steal some thunder from Captain Serious Fun, where Captain Serious Fun often reminds us that sometimes the achievement is the journey. What you did, what did you get accomplished that day in that session? Accomplishment doesn't always have to mean that you got to the end. If I was mining, does it mean that I not only mined, I refined, I packaged, I cargoed and delivered, and I did it in an hour? Or does it become, I mined today, I refined tomorrow, I packaged the next day, I traveled the next day, I delivered? 5 days versus 1 day. 5 sessions, I should say. 5 sessions versus 1. And I know the 1 sounds attractive, right? Sounds attractive. The 5 says, I'm going to be playing this game a lot longer. As long as these 5 elements keep me engaged and make me feel like I accomplished something. Makes me feel like I made some progress today. It was good. Maybe I ran into a hitch and I got over it, or I figured out something differently. But I wonder that if we're asking for them to finish the game and we want it done in that 1 session, whether these same people who want the 1 session will be around a year later, 2 years later, 6 months later. Because if we've exhausted everything in 1 sessions, if I look at the history of gaming and gamers, in 1 year, you won't be playing Star Citizen anymore. That's what I think. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. But I wonder if what we're asking for, we're ready for it. We want CIG to finish it, but are we ready for it? Are we ready for the game that Chris Roberts wants to make? Not the game we want to make, But the game, and it's a question. It's just a question. You know, I'm not saying yay or nay. It's just something I'm observing, especially if I look at how gamers game and how the industry makes us game. Let me bring in Jade. Jade hasn't been here. Jade, Star Watcher, how the heck are you?
I am fine. And to answer that question, I am ready for the game that Chris Roberts wanted to make.
Okay.
And I put a link in chat, and I'm bringing this up again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because this is when we say, you know, finish what you started. We also finish this, right? For people that don't know, Chris Roberts wrote this letter to the community. Physics not a dirty word, where he taking physics at Manchester University and how there's no drag modeled in space. Hello, we've got drag modeled in space now, right? There's so much in this letter that master mode's completely obliterated, right? And so when we say finish what you started, for me, that means finish the space sim that you pitched to me and the rest of the community, right? Not, I don't know what it is anymore. Like I've gone into space in 324 and Stanton, it looks like I'm in No Man's Sky. Like every place can't be super colorful because no place is special then, right? Space is supposed to be black. It's supposed to be black, right? Even if you were in a nebula, it wouldn't look like that. And I get they do that for cinematic reasons. But if you're in Pyro, it makes sense because in lore, it's in a nebula. Stanton, it's in a nebula. So why are you making it super colorful, right? So when I look at the game and the direction it's headed with certain things like flying through space like Superman and, you know, my ship slowing down because magic and everything being, you know, physical, but it's through a screen, a magic screen. So instead of a magic bag of holding, we have magic screens of holding. And just adding more tedium through those screens to put clothes on or change your armor, right? Like it's, you know, my biggest thing with this is so many people in the community, when I say, well, you know, that's not realistic, people say it's a game. But then when I say, well, you know what, if it's a game, then why is this so tedious? Why do I have to load everything onto my ship when, you know, it's just a game, right? It seems to me there's people who just want to go with whatever the narrative is that CIG puts out there for what they're putting out. I'm not a person that's super highly critical of this game, right? People call me a white knight, all that. but when it comes to certain things, I am critical. And I feel that we all should engage our critical minds when something doesn't logically make sense. Where one game system conflicts with lore, or one game system conflicts with another game system that they justify with something else. Like a game, just as a movie plot or a show, should have a logical consistency. Doesn't mean it has to be realistic.
Realistic,
like,
right.
It just means that within that universe, it has to be logically consistent. That's all I ask for.
Yeah. I don't think that that's an unthing thing to, what am I trying to say? I don't think that's an unfair thing to ask for. I think you've heard me say this before, that, you know, as much as I would like to think that I'm going to love everything about Star Citizen, I've given myself about a 20% buffer. I'm probably only like maybe about 80% of what Star Citizen offers. And the question becomes, is that 80% enough to keep me satisfied, right? I may not like these other 20%, but I still love playing the game. So I'm hoping that's where I land. There's no guarantee for me that amidst all the effort and time that we all have put into this, that when the final product comes out, I might say, oh, this is great. I might be like, oh my God, you know, this didn't turn out the way I wanted it to be. I think that your point about the game that we wanted is it's a fair request. But the only problem I have with requests like that, and I have this problem for myself, not you, is that I don't have enough information behind the curtain to determine if it's the final product. There have been things that they've introduced and taken away, comes back better, doesn't come back at all, comes back in some other weird version. And even in the midst of what we have right now, I'm still not convinced that we see enough of what the final product is. And so I try to be critical enough to say, hey, you guys are deviating. This is like a real deviation. What's up with that? Sometimes we get answers, sometimes we don't. But I just don't have enough there to say this is what's going to be in the cement in the end. Now, I know there are times when things are indicating that they're going a certain way. Like a lot of people, for example, the people who will say things like, it's becoming too arcadey, right? And people will say that, and I'll be like, you're basing that on this one thing, and now you feel, or these two things. And I don't feel Star Citizen is arcadey. Do I feel like there are unrealistic aspects about it? Yes, but I played too many arcade games. Well, maybe I'm from an old school arcade brain, but like Centipede and Pac-Man, right? But other people's versions of arcade may be something more complex than that. But I think I think you should, and I think we should say, hey, we need to make sure that when things change in the game, unless there's some technical issue, in other words, just cannot be achieved, right? I mean, just cannot be achieved. That yes, we bought into this, we supported it, we backed it, because the dream wasn't just about ships, it's about gameplay, features, mechanics, all these other things that have been outlined. And if we don't see them, yes, I think absolutely we should say something about it. Absolutely should say something about it. Again, we'll have to see where the chips fall when it's all said and done. And my point is that as we're asking for this finishing and things start to come out, we're going to have to take a look at, are we going to be happy with what we get? Because a lot of people want, and I get it. Time has gone by. People said, hey, come on, guys. Okay, we threw a Squadron 42. Let's get this thing out. I get it, but boy, oh boy, we'll see what happens when it comes out. Okay. Thanks, Jade. Appreciate that. Good stuff. All righty. Let me hear. Oh boy. I got a whole bunch of people in here. Good googly moogly. I know Captain Serious Fun was in here. I'm going to bring in Red. You guys forgive me. I ran over time. I know I gave a big monologue at the beginning there, but Red, go ahead. What's going on?
Yeah, and not much at the moment, but finish what you started. And I was indeed thinking back when we had this Neutronium flight way back when 0.8 came out.
Yeah.
I think you remember that as well.
Yep.
I had a feeling the community was not 100% behind it, so they tossed it out eventually.
Yeah.
So we have like a big influence how the game actually looks like now. I'm still not very happy that we have like about the same flight model in space as in atmosphere. I don't like that we can just quantum travel in atmosphere and out.
Right.
I really hate it. And I don't like that ships that are supposedly very heavy just getting blown away by the wind.
Yeah.
Right? they feel like paperweight.
Yeah.
I could go on and on, but if I'm gonna go and be annoyed all the time, I cannot enjoy Star Citizen as it is now. I know they're gonna change or tweak some stuff. Unfortunately, for some, master modes will stay. I think the whole for them tedious cargo loading unloading will stay as well.
Yeah.
Maybe they will tweak it a bit, but they want to incentivize people working together. That was also the vision of Chris Roberts.
True.
That people working together will be more effective than with NPCs. He doesn't want people all the time working with NPCs, and this is one way to do it. And I'm pretty sure people will just disagree. That's fine. But that's how it is.
Okay.
And I think that they take some extra time is good. But I can see also that people want to see a product that they finally can say like, okay, this is a soft release. We can do from here and there on.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. All right, Red. Thank you, brother. All right. That's good stuff. Let me bring in Pops in Space. I'm just going to chop down the list here as I go. Pops.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to say this, and maybe hopefully I'll explain it well enough. I hope he never finishes the game.
Yeah. Wait, let me stop you. Let me stop you. Because I was going to say something beforehand. Let me say this and maybe it'll supplement what you're going to say. When we say finish, I don't mean done. I'm referring to just delivery, right? In other words, the thing that Chris Roberts said in his last letter from the chairman, where he said a viable, commercially viable, stable game that players will come back to all the time. That's what I mean by finished. So I don't want people to think that we're done, because I do have that in the title. I know it'd be very easy for people to think I mean by finished. I mean, deliver the game that Chris Roberts says he wants to give us. That's what I mean by finished. So go ahead, Pops.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I hope it gets to 1.0,
right?
And that is the product,
right?
That that I back,
right, exactly.
But I'm hoping it's open ended.
Yeah, keeps going. Right, development keeps going.
Right, we're always adding new planets, new creatures. Features, maybe even still expanding on mining a little bit here and there. But that's where I put my money in. That's where it's different than all the other games I played for a year and then stopped playing.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that this game lasts 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 years. Or wherever that goes. That's my hope.
Good
and
stuff.
That's why I back.
Good stuff. All right, Pops. Thank you much, brother. Good stuff. All right, let me bring in a little bit of Madness. I think he's there. He's got his mic muted. Madness, are you there? He's probably listening to me on Twitch with the delay. There he is.
Yes, I am.
There he is. How are you, buddy?
I don't want to hear my voice. I'm good. Good. So, because I know you got people.
Sure.
My first thing about the finished, what they started stuff. I do really, really briefly want to talk about your walking time thing, because I think that topic of conversation I've had so many times over the years it's a beautiful one about Star Citizen pacing, because for me it's shit. But to finish what you started, I don't really like. It's not really about finishing what they started as much, because I think that's going to happen with Squadron 42, and I'm excited about it. Within the persistent universe, it's about the quality of what they're delivering is my biggest problem. It's not. It's like when they deliver stuff, it's almost always half baked. It's still not good. We don't hold them to account on the quality of what they deliver for us, because it is still almost always trash in so many ways. You just sit there and you go, how the beep, can you cock up this UI again? It's been how many years? You know what I mean? It's like there are so many little moments you go, you can't tell me you don't have the data. It's 7 years I've been sat here looking at the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, there's that little bit. For me, it's all about finishing what you started. It's about getting these basic things through the door in a way that it's so much better polish. Like they've done nowadays with the star map. I'm like, oh, thank God, it's still good. You know what I mean? But then I find something that I'm kind of going, oh, like, why have you made these symbols so similar? I still can't see where shit is. Why is it when I'm looking at all these people on the screen, there's thousands of things still on my visual cortex of like point markers and stuff like that. For me, it's not finish what you started. It's just make what you're doing better implemented now. I just want to see that improvement over finishing, because if I see that, then I'm going to believe that the finished result is going to be so much better. That's my point on that one. And then the other the one about the walking times, the pacing in Star Citizen is atrocious, and I don't care what anyone says, it is atrocious. 5 minutes, you said, or was it 5 minutes walking? I mean, you do that maybe once or twice in a game, but like when you're like 40,000 hours into a game, there's a reason why everyone's running around, because they're bored shitless of having to go from one place to another place for the 10,000th time.
Right.
It is just what it is. It's like you say that the vendors are there. Can you buy anything from a vending machine? Can I buy Coca-Cola out of the vending machine or anything? Half the shit you can't actually do anything with.
Right.
Some of the stuff's good. When you can, it will be better, no question.
Right.
But it's still there. The pacing of 5 minutes to walk, 20 minutes to spawn a ship if you haven't got one, or if it crashed or destroyed. The time to do quantum travel if you've got a crappy quantum drive. Granted, you get a better quantum drive. That speeds that shit up, which is great. Then you have new cargo times. I'm crying when I think about it. An hour. I mean, what idiots thinking about this stuff? You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing to us, man? It's like, then you go to prison because on something else, you're sitting in prison for another 40 minutes. I'm like, I do actually want to play a computer game. I mean, I do actually want to play something and succeed at something and not have to.
Let me give you the answer that you're not going to like. Let me give you the answer that you're not going to like. Everything you said, you're right. Let me say that first. Everything you said, I totally understand the frustration, wanting to cry. I get it. I honestly do. Honestly do. Okay. Now here's the answer you're not going to like. Here's the answer you're not going to like. Get ready. Don't play an alpha.
Well, no, I haven't. That's why I don't.
Okay, but listen,
Griff, I've done enough. I've done years of playing alphas. I'm on my chill period.
Yeah, but here's my point.
I chill out on it.
Everything you itemized is indicative of an alpha, not an early access, not a beta, but an alpha.
Yes.
And everything you mentioned is absolutely right. The pill that we swallow is the fact that we decided that we wanted to play an alpha
live service.
Listen,
tech demo, isn't it? That's
no,
what it is.
No. I'm not even calling it a tech demo. I'm calling it the state of development is alpha, which is instability and proof of concept. Feel free to look it up all you want to with any computer designer. That's the space we live in.
Soon?
No, we're not in 1.0. We haven't even got near it.
Isn't it 1.0 soon, according to Chris Roberts?
This is what he said. To quote Chris Roberts, when we present 1.0, it will be stable, commercially viable, and a game that people will come back and play all the time. And you're right.
Yeah.
At 1.0, everything you asked for better be in 1.0. Better be. No question about it.
So
no question about it. Absolutely.
Pacing. But like again, it still comes back to like this. We are like 8 years down the road in terms of pacing.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like how long things take to do stuff.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that right now we're in a good spot when it comes to doing things like time to do stuff?
Okay, let's use the example you mentioned earlier about how long it takes to get yourself ready to go out and do things in space or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
And all of it together, and you repeat. And we're not talking about like one time only, cinematic. Look how amazing this is. I'm talking. You've been playing this for a few hours.
So not even hours. So weeks, months, whatever. We'll keep it in the context of the current state of the game versus the state of the game. The current state of the game says I got to get out of my bed, come downstairs, load up my ship, put all this stuff in, half of which will not go in, inventory, gun racks, all this other stuff. It might take me, if I wanted to equip let's say my Carrack. It might literally take me like, components and all that other crap. It might take me forever. And then when a wipe comes up, I got to do it all over again. That's all a part of the alpha. When the 1.0 comes in, I expect to be able to get in my ship, load it only one time, and it's ready to go. And anytime I want to get in someplace and go somewhere, I'm not doing all that anymore. All I'm doing is getting my ship and going. My ship will be stocked, stored, everything else will be in place. Right now, we always have to go back because that's what we do. Stuff doesn't work on the ship. Drawers don't work. Lockers don't work. Blah, blah, blah. I've always got to run to the store. I got to buy this. I got to buy more ammo. I got to buy more food. Got to buy more medicine. That all goes away with 1.0. It changes. But until 1.0 happens, that's the routine we go through. And that's it.
But now, about 7 years in alpha, you don't think that some of those things should be in by now?
Okay, 7 years in alpha, and I know you're not going to like when I do this. Starfield, 7.5 years, nobody's playing it. Nobody's playing it. 7.5 years from a company that was built, took 21 other studios to build, and nobody's freaking playing the game.
But that's not an online multiplayer game.
There you go. Oh, there's your argument. Even better. For a single player game, 7.5 years, we got a company building a big MMO plus a single player game, and then we want to throw up 8-9 years. Really?
But do you not think? Do you seriously not think that the actual the processes of things that we're doing right now shouldn't be better along in terms of pacing?
I think absolutely. To answer your question, that could be
fine where they are.
I would say, okay, here's my point. Yes, I agree with you. But the thing I will say is this: if that's the case, why haven't they done it? They would make more money on a stable game that works, even in alpha, than they would on a busted game. More people would come. I don't even invite people to play this game because of the state of it. If it was better, and they would make more money.
Shame, isn't it?
No.
But that's a shame.
There's no. I'm trying to get you to see that there must be a reason why. If it's more lucrative to fix it, why haven't they? If they would make more money,
it's probably Squadron 42 is the real fundamental reason because they're making Squadron 42. Most of the resources has been on that.
I think it's way more than that. I think it's way beyond. I think we see 40% of what's behind the curtain. It does. This is like the argument when people will say, and I know I want to bring some other people in. When people will use this argument, no, you're okay. When people will use the argument, not you, but people will say, oh, they're only dragging this out because they're bringing in money. They'd bring in more money if they finished the freaking game. That's stupid. If they sold Squadron 42, they'd bring in a freaking $100 million within 2-3 months. Dragging this out and selling ships is not the way to bring money into this game.
But they're not dragging it because the game isn't, because they haven't made it right, Griff.
No, I'm talking about. I'm referring to Squadron. I'm referring to Squadron.
It's not good enough because no one's going to play this game. No one, look at them. You've already got a split divide. But in terms of, and I'm talking about like lots of people. I'm not talking about like us hardcore right. More people. Game. Right. I'm talking about the average, the bulk of the volume of gamers out there is massive more than what we attribute to ourselves, right? They just are.
Okay.
And if you want to get that money, which is a huge amount of money and resource in gamers, because there are out there, you can't. I mean, it depends what you. I don't know. It's one of those. We'll see, right?
Let's do this. Let's do this. I'm supposed to be coming on your show. I'm supposed to be coming on your show. Let's get together and do that. Okay.
Yeah.
And I got to get these other folks in here. Okay. Thanks, brother.
No worries. Go.
All right. Madness always brings good stuff. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to go, but he and I always have great conversations. I'm sorry for dragging that on for so long. Let me bring in Fist the Case and then Shoe, then Cap, and then we're gonna wrap up. Fist, you there? I'm sorry. You guys waiting so long. Uh-oh, did we lose Fist to Face? Yeah, we did. He's got himself muted. Let me bring in Shu. I'll bring in Shu and bring Fist to Face back next. Hey, Shu, you there? Uh-oh.
Hey.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Well, I'll keep it short. I mean,
you're good.
The whole alpha I won't go into. Getting back to the original subject, I had to write it down so I wouldn't forget through all of that.
Sorry about that.
Anyway, the way I see the game, you know what I call this game between you and me, my retirement game, right?
Yep.
For a reason. It's not like necessarily retiring from work. It's retiring from other real world stuff I deal with that this particular game is going to require that much commitment to, right?
Right.
So it's going to be a balance, right? No matter what I'm doing. So the way I see it is that for CIG, they tell you up front their concept is change. They're always changing the game, right? So and all these changes, they're trying to find out what works best. Sometimes something new that fixes one thing breaks another. So I get it, you know, and it's going to be a process, and it's an alpha, which I never even thought of playing in an alpha. But so for them, the only constant is change. For us, the constant is going to be the experience. If the experience goes away, there ain't going to be no audience. There's not going to be a game. So they're making changes to shape an experience, which will keep us engaged, right? And then in that experience, time, knowledge, and skill is the greatest currency, more than UEC. If you don't devote those things, no matter how much that number is, you're not going to grow it. Okay, it's just going to sit there, just like that 890. Mine's going to sit in the hangar for a long time, probably. So you will be competing with NPCs more than with other people, which means that's CIG behind the scenes making changes. It's almost like a theme park. You know, where they see what we're doing and they say, well, let's throw this in, just like a Xeno threat might pop up. You know, it's going to be a different experience than I think any of us is used to, where you actually have the developer involved in the game. Like we've had devs on ships, devs involved in PvP. It's just different than what you normally see, right? And so the assets that we collect, all these ships and stuff, they're just tools.
Right.
They're tools to get the job done. But if you don't have the time or the equity to put into it, they're just sitting there. They're paperweights, right? So cooperation will be power. The power of two is better than three, or vice versa. So yeah, you'll definitely gonna need friends. That's why they make these ships the way they do, right? So that it's encouraging more people to play together, and that's never been a secret.
Yeah.
So
wow.
That's the way I see it, right?
Yeah.
That's the way I look at going forward, that I have to prepare myself for all of those things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's good stuff to share, Chu. Thanks a lot. You know, Chu makes some really good points here, and I just real quick before I bring in the last two people. Believe me, I don't want people to think that I know some people think I'm white knighting. Maybe the things I'm sharing with you are the way I cope with the process of what's going on. I think I'm not against holding CIG accountable, calling them, saying the things we don't think we like as a community, things that we hope they would change. But I am also trying to be realistic enough to know that at some point somebody at CIG has to make a decision about the game and where the game is going. Does it mean that I will agree with it? You know, does it mean it will be something that turns me off from the game, or is it just something I say, I don't know why they did it that way, but I still enjoy playing the game? And I'm hoping that's the place I find. I don't expect for 100% of this game to be something, everything's fabulous. I'm not expecting that. But as we get close to this, you know, finishing what you started, you know, we'll have to see, to Jade's point earlier, how much of the original vision will we see at the end? Will it be 90%, 70%, 60%, 85%? We'll have to see where they go when it's all said and done. Let me bring in Fist to Face and then Cap, and then we're going to wrap it up. Hey, Fist.
Hey, Griff, sorry about
That's
that.
okay.
I was talking to you, but I didn't realize I was talking to myself.
That's okay.
But first off, I was ready to call out Chooch. I was like, I thought he was a Sith in disguise when he said, I thought he was going to say ruler tool, you know, for a minute.
Yeah,
but anyway, moving on. I as far as to the question, I like the direction of the way the game is going, and when I see the game as far as when it gets to 1.0, I've learned to try to look at it from managing my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm not going to. I know everything in the game. I'm not going to, like you said, agree with everything because I'm probably not going to do everything in the game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I will try it, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to, live my profession in that game.
Yeah.
My main thing is I would like to see are two things in the game, if I could say this, is mining and exploration. If they nail that for me,
yeah,
I'm golden.
You're in. Okay. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Exploration, as you know, that's on the top of the community list. And, there are times when I question and say, man, we don't have any real exploration. I mean, we've got, our own version of exploration, but I'm also very eager to see what CIG, establishes as exploration in the game. So, yeah.
And I want to say this real quick for you, get Captain. My version of exploration, real quick, and my vision is, man, I want to go down into that cave and I want to hear something roar in the distance that'll make your hair on the back of your neck stand up and go, oh, that's my thing. I want that.
Okay.
I want that.
All right.
But
you and a lot of other people
behind it.
Yeah.
Behind them, there's an artifact that's worth whatever.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Fizz. Thanks a lot, brother. Appreciate it. All right, last but not least, the one and the only. I don't have any music for him, Captain Serious Fun. Cap, you there?
I made my way through your soliloquy.
I'm sorry, I know. Every once in a while I get on my podium and somebody needs to kick me off of it, Get off that podium.
I thought I'd be in first, and Jade was already fired up a third of the way through your soliloquy, but a third of the way through you said something that made me jump in.
Okay.
And you asked the question, are we ready? Are we as a community ready for the shift from 5.3 million dreams of what this can be to what Chris Roberts is going to make it be? And the answer is no.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
We are not ready for that.
Wow.
I'm not ready for that, right?
Yeah.
To your point, just with Fist recently, right? I had a vision, and I have a vision of what Star Citizen should do when it comes to exploration. I have a vision of 100 systems. I am not fully ready to hear CID say something different than I'm gonna get 100 systems, even though I know that's likely.
Right.
I know I'm not getting it for 1.0.
Right.
But I imagine they say we may never do that, right? Or something like that. Right? I'm not ready for that. A lot of us are not ready for the shift from what we dreamed this thing to be to what CR's frame on is going to be. Why? Well, some of it is logical fallacy, right? When you have these types of conversations, listen, Griff, if I were to get, for every hasty generalization or red herring or circular argument or false dilemma, post hoc ergo propter hoc, or straw man that was dropped when it came to this stuff, if that was starting UEC, you wouldn't have to worry about how I launched in the game. I'd be straight, right?
Right.
But that's a lot of UEC because there's a lot of logical fallacy.
Right.
Across this community. So some of it is just straight that, right?
Yeah.
But some of it is what I'm calling experiential neophytism, right? Experiential neophytism. We are neophytes in the experience as a broad community of persisting in a testable, playable alpha that's in development in which we can participate.
Yeah.
And features can be tested and pulled and implemented and shut off and rolled out and unrolled out and re-rolled out.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of experience in that environment. Frederick Douglass said, freedom is a road seldom traveled by the multitude. Right? But if Frederick just lived at 2954, he'd be like, open development of a testable alpha is a space lane seldom traveled by the multitude. We don't have the experience today of stuff, right? We struggle with this. And so what you're watching, and it's you too, it's me too, it's all of us. But what we're watching is a community go from the innocence of its dreams through the adolescence of its understanding, right? And the hope is that most people, most of the time across this journey, will be able to get to a place of maturity in their relationship with the game, right? Where, and you said it before, some people will go, well, I got most of what I was interested in, and this game can remain the game for me. And some people will go, this isn't what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And become okay with that.
Yeah.
You know? And so some people, last thing I'll say is some people say, if Chris Roberts has an exact vision, why not post it somewhere in its exactitude? Right? So that we can stay in or walk away, right? Why not he just lay it out for us directly? Here's what I believe about that. The same way that we're on a journey, CIG is on a journey. Chris Roberts is on a journey.
Okay.
Right? He's like Potter Stewart. Anybody know who Potter Stewart is? Potter Stewart was a Supreme Court justice.
Okay.
We used to have this thing in the United States called Supreme Court. We don't have it anymore, but we used to have a Supreme Court, and he was Potter Stewart. Right? Jacob Ellis v. Ohio, 1964. Somebody asked him, what is entity? He said, I'm not going to define it for you, but I know it when I ask. And I guarantee you, that's how Chris Roberts is experiencing these features. He's getting in and playing it, and he gives people feedback, and he gets iteration because he knows what he likes when he sees it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't think he could yet post up exactly what he wants because he has an idea of it, but he's got to get in and play it. Richard Tyra's got to give him a version to play. And when he does, he goes, I like this, I don't like that. I like this, I don't like that. Right? And that's how we're getting it. But they're on a journey too.
Yeah.
Right? So let's everybody just relax, kick back, chill. Right? The alpha stage of a game where you're pulling and pushing and plugging and playing features, that's supposed to be the longest period of a game's development anyway. Right? We just happen to be here for it. Yeah. You just didn't see it with GTA. You didn't see it with Cyberpunk. You didn't see it with Red Dead Redemption 2. And you didn't see it with Cuphead. You didn't see it, but it was the longest part of the development.
Yeah.
Right? Let's just enjoy getting line of sight to that. Right? Let's play our role in the development of the piece. Right? And let's see where it goes. Right? But if you for that end, and the end isn't what you wanted, then you might be frustrated the whole way at the end. And that's not how I want you to live your life. I love y'all too much. So that's all I wanted to say.
All right, Cap. Thank you so much, man. Cap giving us some pearls of wisdom there at the end. It's a journey, not just for us, but also for CIG. And CIG is working to finish what they started. We'll see. We'll see where things go. I'm hopeful. I'm not sold, but I'm hopeful. I'm definitely hopeful. Shout out to Irate Caveman who came in a little while ago. Thank you for that sub, Caveman. Really, really appreciate that. Okay, you guys have sat through a lot today, including my soliloquy, which I know I did give a soliloquy today. Let me talk about what we got coming up. Before I even get into that, let me get into first today. Today is PodSat Saturday. It's a time when we connect with other Star Citizen content creators and share the day with them, with our good friend Paul Shelley over at the Astro Pub over at the Captain's Table, which is where we usually will send you guys today. And then this evening we have Relay, the guys, the OGs of Star Citizen, been around for a long time, good friends of ours. They're on this evening at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Paul's not on today, so we are going to be sending you guys over to our good friend Yo-Yo Meg, who's one of our team members with the Soul Citizens, an amazing content streamer, just up and coming and blowing it up and a lot of fun. For those of you who may be feeling a little down, go see Yo-Yo Meg. She'll cheer you up. She's always got all this energy for Star Citizen. Also want to talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow we are doing a show called The Rule of Cool. We're going to talk about some elements of Star Citizen that folks will often say, man, that's cool. And we're going to talk about, are they cool? Form over function, function over form. That's going to be our conversation tomorrow. We're going to have a special guest on, a name that you guys have seen in chat several times, a good friend of ours, Captain Jones, is going to be popping on with us tomorrow as our special guest. And hopefully you guys will get to hear his opinions. He's a really, I really respect him a lot. He has a lot of great views about the game and understanding of the game, and it's going to be exciting to have him on with us next week. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Eastern time We're going to have a great time tomorrow with that show for the Rule of Cool. So other than that, I think that's about it. We are getting ready to, as I said, get you guys over with our good friend Yo-Yo. Let me get my thing here. I don't know why I didn't have this set up ahead of time. There we go. But we're going to send you guys over there to Yo-Yo Meg. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're here with us today, we appreciate you spending your Saturday afternoon with us. Thank you for listening to my soliloquy. Special thanks to all the people who came in and sat in with us today and shared your thoughts. As always, we always love hearing the voices of the community. That's what this show is all about. And hopefully you guys will have a great weekend this weekend. Let's get ready to send you guys over to Yo-Yo. Please stay safe. Take care of yourself. Hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And until then, peace, love, soul. Take care. Ciao.